Maya Collins thought she'd escaped. 3 years of hiding, of changing her name, of raising twin toddlers alone in a town where nobody asked questions. 3 years since she fled Chicago, and Victor Moreau, the crime boss whose child she carried. But tonight, as lightning splits the sky and headlights cut through her kitchen window, Maya realizes the truth. You can't run from a man who owns half the city. You can't hide children who have their father's eyes. And when the knock comes at her door, Maya must face the most terrifying question of all. Did Victor come to reclaim his family or destroy the only witness who knows his darkest secrets? If you're watching from somewhere in the world right now, hit that like button and drop a comment telling me what city you're from. I love seeing how far these stories travel. Now settle in, because Maya's story is just beginning, and trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. A set. The rain came down in sheets over Port Timber, Washington, turning the quiet residential street into a river of fallen leaves and October darkness. Maya Collins stood at her kitchen sink, hands submerged in sudsy water, watching the storm through the window above the faucet. Lightning flickered in the distance, briefly illuminating the modest rental house she'd called home for the past 3 years. A lifetime and a heartbeat all at once. "Mama, I can't sleep." Maya turned to find Lily standing in the doorway, her small fingers clutching the stuffed rabbit that went everywhere with her. At 2.5, Lily was all dark curls and enormous brown eyes. Victor's eyes, though Maya tried not to think about that. Tried and failed every single day. "Come here, baby." Maya dried her hands and scooped her daughter up, breathing in the scent of lavender baby shampoo. "The thunder scary?" Lily nodded against her mother's shoulder. "Noah's scared too. He won't say it, but he is." Maya smiled despite the tension that had been building in her chest all evening, that nameless anxiety that had become her constant companion since fleeing Chicago 36 months ago. "Your brother's braver than he thinks, just like you." She carried Lily down the narrow hallway to the twins' bedroom, where Noah sat up in his small bed, arms wrapped around his knees. He looked so much like his father, it sometimes stole Maya's breath. The same strong jawline, even at 2 years old, the same intensity in those dark eyes that seemed to see everything, miss nothing. "Can't sleep either?" Maya asked gently, settling onto the edge of his bed with Lily still in her arms. Noah shook his head. "The lights keep flashing." "It's just a storm, sweetheart. The thunder's loud, but it can't hurt you. You're safe here." Safe. The word felt like a lie on her tongue. Maya had been telling herself that same promise for 3 years, but she'd learned the hard way that safety was an illusion for women who knew too much about dangerous men. "Tell us about the stars," Lily said, her voice already drowsy. "The one about the wish." Maya began the familiar story, her voice low and soothing, watching as both children's eyelids grew heavy. 20 minutes later, they were asleep, Noah's small hand curled around his sister's. Maya stood slowly, careful not to wake them, and pulled their blankets up to their chins. She lingered in the doorway, studying their faces in the dim glow of the nightlight. They were everything. Her entire world. The reason she'd run, the reason she kept running, the reason she woke up every morning with her heart pounding and her eyes scanning every face on the street. Because Victor Moreau didn't lose things. And she'd taken the most precious things he'd never known he had. Tsum. The kitchen was exactly as she'd left it, dishes still soaking in the sink. Maya returned to them mechanically, needing something to do with her hands, something to quiet the anxiety that had been building all day. She'd felt watched lately, followed, but then she'd felt that way for 3 years. Paranoia was the price of survival. She'd been an accountant at Moreau Industries when she met Victor. 24 years old, fresh out of graduate school, eager to prove herself in Chicago's competitive financial sector. She'd had no idea that the prestigious company she'd joined was a front for money laundering, drug trafficking, and every other crime that built empires in the shadows. And she'd had no idea that Victor Moreau, brilliant, dangerous, devastating Victor, would become her entire world. It happened slowly. Late nights working on the books, conversations that started professional and became personal. The way he looked at her, like she was the only real thing in a world of smoke and mirrors. Maya had known what he was. Everyone knew what the Moreau family was, but knowing and knowing were different things. And by the time she understood the true depth of his darkness, She was already in love. The affair lasted 8 months. 8 months of stolen moments, of lies she told herself, of believing that love could exist in the space between board meetings and violence. 8 months of pretending she didn't see the blood on his hands, didn't hear the whispers about people who crossed him and disappeared. Until the night she discovered the ledger. Maya's hand stilled in the dishwater, her mind dragging her back to that moment despite her best efforts to forget. She'd been working late, as usual, when she stumbled across the secondary accounts. The ones that didn't just launder money, they tracked it. Every payoff, every hit, every corrupt official and buried body. Names, dates, amounts. A roadmap of Victor's entire criminal empire, hidden in plain sight within the legitimate business records. She'd been staring at the screen, horror crawling up her throat, when she heard footsteps behind her. "Working late again, Maya?" Victor's voice had been warm, affectionate, unknowing. She'd closed the file, smiled, pretended everything was fine. But Victor wasn't a fool, and she'd never been a good liar. She saw the moment his expression changed, saw the calculation in those dark eyes she'd once thought she could trust. "What were you looking at?" Not a question, a demand. "Nothing, just the quarterly reports." "Don't lie to me." The temperature in the room had dropped. Maya remembered standing, remembered the way her hand shook as she grabbed her purse, remembered the terrible certainty that she'd just signed her own death warrant. "I should go, it's late." "Maya." His hand had closed around her wrist. Not painful, but inescapable. "We need to talk about what you saw." "I didn't see anything. I swear, Victor, I didn't." "Tomorrow." His thumb had stroked across her pulse point, gentle and terrifying. "Come to my office tomorrow, noon. We'll discuss this privately." She'd agreed because what choice did she have? She'd smiled and kissed him goodnight and driven home with tears streaming down her face, knowing she'd never see him again. Because Maya had grown up in Chicago. She knew the stories. She knew what happened to people who knew too much, who became liabilities instead of assets. Victor loved her. She believed that, even now. But love didn't stop bullets. Love didn't prevent bodies from ending up in the Chicago River. By sunrise, she was gone. A crack of thunder jerked Maya back to the present. Her hands were numb in the now cold dishwater, and her face was wet. She wiped her eyes roughly, angry at herself for the tears. Crying was a luxury she couldn't afford. She'd been 2 months pregnant when she fled. She hadn't known it then, wouldn't know for another 3 weeks, when morning sickness hit her in a gas station bathroom somewhere in Nebraska. The home pregnancy test she'd bought at a truck stop showed 2 pink lines, and Maya had sat on the floor of that filthy bathroom and laughed until she cried. Pregnant, with Victor Moreau's child, running for her life. The universe had a cruel sense of humor. She'd considered abortion. Of course she had. But by the time she made it to Seattle, 6 months into her desperate flight east, she'd fallen in love with the flutter of movement in her belly. And when the ultrasound technician said twins, Maya had made a choice. These children would never know their father's world. They would never know violence or fear or the weight of loving someone who could kill without remorse. They would be safe. So she'd changed her name. Found this quiet rental in Port Timber, a nothing town an hour north of Seattle where nobody asked questions and everyone minded their own business. She worked remotely as a freelance bookkeeper, ironic, given her past, and built a small, careful life around her children. And every single day she waited for Victor to find them. Lightning flashed again, closer this time. Maya pulled the plug on the sink and dried her hands, moving through her nightly routine on autopilot. Check the locks. Check the windows. Check the emergency bag she kept packed in the hall closet, always ready for the moment they'd need to run again. She was reaching for the front door deadbolt when headlights swept across the living room. Maya froze. It was almost 11. Nobody came down their street this late. Nobody lived on their street except elderly Mrs. Patterson 3 houses down and the Chens who were visiting family in Taiwan. The headlights didn't pass. They stopped. Directly in front of her house. Maya's heart slammed against her ribs. She moved to the window, careful to stay hidden behind the curtain, and peered out into the storm-dark street. A black SUV sat at the curb, engine running, windows tinted too dark to see inside. As she watched, the driver's door opened, and a man stepped out into the rain. Tall, broad-shouldered, moving with the kind of confidence that came from never having to fear anything. Even in the dark, even through the rain, Maya recognized him. She'd recognize him anywhere. Victor. Whoop it. The world tilted. Maya stumbled back from the window, her hand pressed to her mouth to muffle the sound, trying to escape. No. No, this wasn't happening. This couldn't be happening. She ran to the twins' room, moving on pure instinct. Noah and Lily were still asleep, their small faces peaceful in the nightlight's glow. Maya's hands shook as she reached for Noah, ready to wake him, to grab both children and run out the back door. The knock came before she could move. 3 sharp raps on the front door. Controlled. Patient. Maya stood frozen in her children's bedroom, every muscle locked, every nightmare of the past 3 years crystallizing into this single moment. The knock came again. Maya. Victor's voice carried through the door, through the rain, through 3 years of silence. I know you're home. I can see the lights on. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think. The emergency bag was in the hall closet. The back door was through the kitchen. If she moved fast, if she was quiet, I'm not here to hurt you. A pause. Please, we need to talk. The please was what broke through her panic. Maya had known Victor for nearly a year, had loved him for most of it, and she'd never heard him say please. Not once. Her hands were still shaking as she walked to the front door. This was insane. Suicidal. But if Victor wanted her dead, locked doors wouldn't stop him. They both knew that. She opened the door 6 inches, keeping the chain lock engaged. Victor stood on her small porch, rain streaming down his face. He looked exactly the same. Those dark eyes, that strong jaw, the bearing of a man who commanded respect through presence alone. He wore an expensive suit that was rapidly being ruined by the rain, and he didn't seem to notice or care. Hello, Maya. His voice was quieter than she remembered, rough with something that might have been emotion. You're a difficult woman to find. How did you... She couldn't finish the question. Her throat had closed around the words. May I come in? No. The word came out stronger than she felt. Victor's jaw tightened, but he nodded. Fair enough. We can talk here. There's nothing to talk about. You need to leave, now. I'm afraid I can't do that. He glanced past her into the house. Are they asleep? The bottom dropped out of Maya's world. Her fingers clenched on the doorframe, her whole body going cold. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't. Something fierce flashed in his eyes. Don't lie to me. Not about this. Not about them. Maya's vision grayed at the edges. He knew, somehow, impossibly, Victor knew about the twins. How long? She whispered. 5 months. Victor's expression was unreadable. I've known for 5 months. 5... The timeline crashed into her. That's impossible. Nobody knows. Nobody could have... I have resources you can't imagine, Maya. Did you really think I wouldn't look for you? Did you think I'd just let you disappear? His voice hardened. You were mine. I was never yours. I was your employee. Your... She couldn't say the word. You don't own me. No, Victor agreed quietly. I don't. But they're mine too, aren't they? The truth sat between them like a live wire. Maya wanted to deny it, to slam the door and pretend this wasn't happening, but the lie wouldn't come, because Noah and Lily were Victor's. They had his eyes, his features, his intensity, and he knew it. Why? Maya's voice broke. Why did you wait 5 months? Why are you here now? Because I needed to be sure you were safe, that they were safe. Victor ran a hand through his wet hair, and for the first time Maya saw exhaustion in his face. I've been watching, Maya, making sure nobody else found you, making sure you had everything you needed. You've been watching us? Horror crawled up her spine. For 5 months you've been protecting you, Victor cut in. From a distance. I wasn't going to interfere. I swore I wouldn't. But circumstances have changed. What circumstances? He met her eyes, and what she saw there made her breath catch. Fear. Victor Moreau, the most dangerous man she'd ever known, looked afraid. There's been a threat. Against me, which means against anyone connected to me. I've handled it, but I needed to verify that you and the children weren't in danger. His hands flexed at his sides. I needed to see for myself. Maya's mind raced. A threat. Someone had threatened Victor, and instead of focusing on protecting himself, he'd come here to check on the family he didn't even know. Except he did know. He'd known for 5 months. I want you to leave, she said, even as part of her recognized the futility of the demand. I want you to forget you ever found us. We're not part of your world, Victor. We never were. Maya, please. Now she was the one begging. Please just go. Let us have this. Let them grow up normal and safe and good. They don't need to know about you, about any of it. Victor's expression shifted into something that might have been pain. You think I don't want that for them? You think I want my children growing up in my world? Then leave us alone. I can't. The words were almost inaudible under the rain. I tried, Maya. For 5 months, I tried. But I can't walk away. Not from them. His eyes held hers. Not from you. Before Maya could respond, a sound cut through the storm. A thin, wheezing cry from inside the house. Noah. Maya's head whipped around. She knew that sound, had heard it 3 times before, each time more terrifying than the last. Asthma. Noah had asthma, triggered by stress and weather changes, and another wheeze, louder this time, desperate. Maya abandoned the door, running for the twins' room. Noah was sitting up in bed, his small chest heaving, his lips tinged blue in the nightlight's glow. His inhaler was on the nightstand. She'd made sure of it before bed. But when Maya grabbed it and pressed it to his lips, nothing happened. Empty. The inhaler was empty. No, no, no. Maya's hands shook as she searched for the backup. She always kept a backup. Where was the backup? Noah's breathing was getting worse, each breath a horrible, rattling gasp. Lily woke up, saw her brother, and started crying. Maya! Victor's voice from the doorway. What's wrong? She should have told him to leave, should have screamed at him to get out. But Noah's lips were turning bluer, and the backup inhaler wasn't in the nightstand or the dresser or... He can't breathe. The words came out broken. He has asthma, and I can't find his backup inhaler, and he can't breathe. Victor was across the room in 2 strides. He took one look at Noah's face and scooped him up, blanket and all. We're taking him to the hospital, now. I can drive, no time. Victor was already moving, carrying Noah toward the front door. My car's faster. Grab the girl. Maya's brain had short-circuited, stuck between 3 years of running from this man and the immediate terror of watching her son struggle for air. She grabbed Lily, who was sobbing now, and followed Victor out into the storm. The SUV's back door was already open. Victor placed Noah in a car seat like he'd been prepared for this, and strapped him in with practiced efficiency. Maya barely had time to register that before Victor was taking Lily from her arms and securing her in a second car seat on the other side. Get in, he ordered, sliding into the driver's seat. Maya climbed in back with the twins. Noah's breathing was getting shallower, more labored. She grabbed his small hand, felt how cold and clammy it was, and felt her heart shatter. Hold on, baby, just hold on. The SUV tore away from the curb, Victor driving with controlled precision through the storm-dark streets. He had his phone to his ear, speaking rapidly. This is Victor Moreau. I'm bringing in a patient, 2-year-old male, severe asthma attack, respiratory distress. I'll be at Timber Valley Memorial in 7 minutes. Have your best pediatric respiratory specialist ready, and I want a full trauma team standing by. A pause. I don't care if you have to wake them up. Do it! He ended the call and met Maya's eyes in the rearview mirror. He's going to be fine. Maya wanted to believe him, but Noah's breathing was barely a whisper now, and his eyes were fluttering closed. Noah, stay awake. She squeezed his hand, trying to keep the panic out of her voice. Stay with Mama, baby. We're almost there. The 7-minute drive felt like 7 hours. Lily cried the entire time, calling for her brother, while Maya held Noah's hand and whispered prayers to a God she wasn't sure she believed in anymore. Victor didn't speak, but his knuckles were white on the steering wheel, and when they screamed into the hospital's emergency bay, Maya saw something in his face she'd never seen before. Terror. The man who controlled half of Chicago through fear and violence was terrified. The doors burst open before they'd fully stopped. A team of medical personnel swarmed the SUV, and suddenly Noah was being lifted out of his car seat, placed on a gurney, surrounded by doctors and nurses calling out terms Maya didn't understand. Oxygen saturation at 73. Start him on albuterol, high flow. Get me an IV line. We need. Maya tried to follow, but someone held her back. She struggled, screaming Noah's name until Victor's hands closed around her shoulders. Let them work. His voice was steady, but his hands were shaking. Let them save him. Maya sagged against him, all the fight draining out of her. Lily was still in the car, crying, and Maya numbly went to get her, holding her daughter close while Victor dealt with the paperwork and the questions and all the things Maya's brain couldn't process. They were led to a private waiting room. Maya sat with Lily in her lap, rocking back and forth, while Victor paced like a caged animal. He's going to be okay, Victor said for the third time. The doctors here are good. I made sure of it. You made sure of it? Maya's voice sounded distant, strange. How could you possibly? I've been watching you for 5 months, Maya. Do you think I didn't research the local hospital? Didn't make sure they had the resources to handle any emergency? He stopped pacing, his eyes fierce. I've been protecting you, all of you, even from a distance. The words should have made her angry, should have felt like a violation. But all Maya could think about was Noah's blue lips, his desperate struggle for air. Miss Collins? A doctor appeared in the doorway, still in scrubs. Your son is stable. The relief was so intense it hurt. Maya stood on shaking legs, Lily heavy in her arms. Can I see him? In a moment. First, I need to discuss his condition with you. The doctor glanced at Victor. Are you the father? Victor's jaw tightened. Yes? The lie, or truth, hung in the air. The doctor nodded and gestured for them to sit. Your son has severe asthma, which you're aware of. But what you may not know is that the attack tonight was triggered by an underlying heart condition. Maya's world stopped. What? We ran a full workup while stabilizing him. Noah has a congenital heart defect, a ventricular septal defect, or VSD. It's a hole between the lower chambers of his heart. The doctor's expression was kind but serious. It's affecting his breathing, and it's likely been making his asthma attacks more severe. He's going to need surgery. The words didn't make sense. Surgery, heart defect, Noah, her baby. How soon? Victor's voice cut through Maya's spiraling thoughts. Within the month, ideally. It's not immediately life-threatening, but given the severity of tonight's attack and his young age, I don't want to wait longer than necessary. What are we looking at? Success rate? Recovery time? Risks? The doctor outlined the procedure, the statistics, the possibilities. Maya heard maybe half of it through the roaring in her ears. Noah had a hole in his heart. Her baby had a hole in his heart, and she hadn't known, hadn't seen it, hadn't protected him. I want the best, Victor said when the doctor finished. I don't care what it costs. Bring in specialists from anywhere in the world. I want Mr. Moreau. The doctor's voice was gentle. The best pediatric cardiac surgeon in the Pacific Northwest is already on staff here. Dr. Sarah Chen, she trained at Johns Hopkins and has a 98% success rate with this procedure. Your son will be in excellent hands. Victor looked like he wanted to argue, to throw money and power at the problem until it disappeared, but he just nodded. When can we see him? Now. Follow me. Noah looked impossibly small in the hospital bed, oxygen tube in his nose, monitors beeping softly around him, but his breathing was steady, and when Maya sat beside him and touched his hand, his eyes fluttered open. Mama? His voice was barely a whisper. I'm here, baby. Mama's here. Maya smoothed his dark hair back from his forehead, tears streaming down her face. You're going to be okay. Lily, okay? She's fine. She's right here. Maya adjusted Lily in her lap so Noah could see his sister. Lily reached out, her small hand closing around Noah's fingers. No cry, Lily, Noah whispered. I okay. Victor stood at the foot of the bed, watching them. When Noah's eyes landed on him, something passed between father and son. some recognition that Maya couldn't name and didn't understand. "Who's that?" Noah asked. Maya's throat closed. She looked at Victor, saw him struggling with the same question. Who was he? A stranger? A threat? A father? "I'm Victor," he said finally, his voice rough. "I'm a friend of your mama's." Noah studied him with those two old eyes. "You helped me." "Yes." "Thank you." Victor's composure cracked, just for a second, but Maya saw it. The grief, the regret, the desperate love for a child he'd never known existed until 5 months ago. "You're welcome, Noah." They kept Noah overnight for observation. Maya refused to leave his side, so Victor arranged for a cot to be brought into the room. Lily fell asleep curled against her mother, while Noah dozed fitfully, still hooked up to monitors. Victor sat in the chair by the window, silent and watchful. He'd made phone calls throughout the night. Maya heard him speaking in low tones to people she didn't know, arranging things she couldn't follow. By 3 a.m, she was too exhausted to care. "You should sleep," Victor said quietly. "I'll watch them." "I don't trust you." The words came out automatically, habit more than conviction. "I know." He met her eyes across the dim room. "But I'm asking you to try. For tonight. Just for tonight." Maya wanted to refuse, wanted to stay awake and vigilant, the way she had been for 3 years. But her body was shutting down, her mind fuzzy with exhaustion and fear. "If you hurt them," she started. "I won't." Victor's voice was absolute. "I swear to you, Maya, on everything I am, everything I have, I won't hurt them. I couldn't." She believed him. God help her, she believed him. Maya closed her eyes, keeping Noah's hand in hers, and let herself drift. When she woke, gray dawn light was filtering through the hospital window. Noah was still sleeping peacefully. Lily was curled against her side. And Victor was exactly where he'd been, sitting in the chair by the window, watching over all of them with the fierce dedication of a man who'd found something worth protecting. Maya sat up slowly, trying not to wake the twins. Victor's eyes tracked the movement. "Morning," he said softly. "You didn't sleep." "Couldn't." He stood, moving to stand beside Noah's bed. His hand hovered over his son's hair, like he wanted to touch but didn't dare. "The doctor will be in at 7. They want to run more tests, get a better picture of the defect before scheduling surgery." "Victor, I'm not leaving." He said it before she could ask. "I know you want me to. I know you think it's better for them if I disappear, but I can't. Not now that I've seen them. Not now that I know what they are to me." "What are they to you?" Maya challenged. "You don't know them. You've never—" "They're everything." The words were simple, devastating. "I didn't know they existed until 5 months ago. I didn't know what I was missing. But now—" His voice broke. "Now I can't unsee it. I can't pretend they don't exist. I can't walk away from my children, Maya." "So what do you want? Visitation rights? Some kind of custody arrangement?" Bitterness crept into her voice. "You think you can just waltz back into my life after I ran from you because I thought you were going to kill me?" Victor flinched. "Is that what you thought? That night when you left, you thought I was planning to hurt you? You asked me to your office, private, to discuss what I saw." Maya's hands clenched into fists. "I saw the ledger, Victor. Every crime, every payoff, every body. I knew exactly what you were capable of. And when you looked at me that night, when you realized I knew too much, I was going to propose." The words fell into the space between them like stones into still water. "I had the ring in my office. I was going to ask you to marry me, Maya, to build a life with me. I knew what you'd seen and I was going to offer you the truth. All of it. Everything." His hands shook. "And then you were gone." The world tilted again. Maya stared at him, searching for the lie, for the manipulation, but Victor's face was raw with something that looked like grief. "You're lying." "I'm not." He reached into his jacket, slowly, aware of how she tensed, and pulled out a small box. Velvet. Ring-sized. "I've carried this for 3 years. Couldn't bring myself to get rid of it." He opened the box. Inside was a diamond ring, simple and elegant and breathtaking. The kind of ring a man bought when he knew a woman's taste, when he'd paid attention to every detail. Maya's vision blurred. "No, you had to—" I was in love with you. Victor's voice cracked. I am in love with you. Everything I've done since you left has been about finding you, protecting you, making sure you were safe, even if you never wanted to see me again. He closed the box, his hand closing around it. I failed you that night. I saw your fear and I didn't understand it fast enough. I should have explained immediately. Should have told you what I was planning, but I thought I had time. I don't believe you. But even as Maya said it, she felt the certainty crumbling, because this was Victor. The man who'd held her through nightmares, who'd listened to her talk about her dreams, who'd looked at her like she was the only light in his dark world. The man she'd loved. Still loved, if she was honest with herself. You don't have to believe me, Victor said quietly, but I'm asking you to let me prove it. Let me be here for them, for Noah's surgery, for whatever comes next. His eyes held hers. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm not asking you to love me again. I'm just asking you not to take them away from me before I've had a chance to know them. A soft knock interrupted them. The doctor entered, professionally cheerful despite the early hour. Good morning. How's our patient? Noah stirred, his eyes blinking open. Mama? I'm here, baby. Maya smoothed his hair, her mind still reeling from Victor's revelation. The doctor needs to check on you. The next hour was a blur of examinations and tests. They took Noah for an echocardiogram, and Maya went with him, leaving Victor in the room with Lily. When they returned, Victor was sitting on the floor, showing Lily something on his phone, some kind of animated video that had her giggling. The sound of her daughter's laughter, mixing with the sight of Victor's gentle smile, broke something in Maya's chest. Dr. Chen came by at 9, reviewing the test results. The VSD was significant but operable. She wanted to schedule the surgery for 2 weeks out, giving Noah time to recover from the asthma attack and build up his strength. 2 weeks is soon, Maya said, her hands twisting together. It's necessary, Dr. Chen replied kindly. The defect is affecting his overall health. The sooner we repair it, the better his long-term prognosis. Victor was on his phone before the doctor finished speaking. I want a second opinion, and a third. I want every specialist in the country to review his case. Mr. Moreau, I'm not questioning your expertise, Victor cut in, his voice controlled but intense. But this is my son. I need to know we're doing the right thing. Dr. Chen's expression softened. I understand. I can have his files sent to colleagues at Johns Hopkins and Stanford. But I promise you, Mr. Moreau, the recommended course of treatment won't change. This surgery is standard for his condition, and waiting longer poses more risk than proceeding. Victor looked at Maya. Your call. The fact that he was deferring to her, acknowledging her authority as Noah's mother, meant more than Maya wanted to admit. She looked at her son, at his trusting face, and made the hardest decision of her life. 2 weeks, she said. We'll do the surgery in 2 weeks. Yassim. They were discharged that afternoon with strict instructions about Noah's care and a pharmacy's worth of medications. Victor's driver, a silent, efficient man named Marcus, loaded them into the SUV and they headed back to Maya's rental house. The storm had passed, leaving the world washed clean and bright. Noah and Lily chatted in their car seats, the earlier terror already fading from their young memories. But Maya felt every second of it etched into her bones. Victor walked them to the door, carrying the bag of medical supplies. Inside, the house looked exactly as they'd left it, dishes still in the sink, toys scattered across the living room floor. Evidence of a normal life interrupted. I should go, Victor said, setting the bag on the kitchen counter. But he didn't move toward the door. Maya didn't ask him to leave. They'll want lunch soon, she said instead, the words feeling surreal. Do you want to... Would you like to stay? Something shifted in Victor's expression. Hope, maybe, or relief. Yes, thank you. So he stayed, helped her make grilled cheese sandwiches while the twins played in the living room, sat at her small kitchen table like he belonged there, listening to Noah and Lily tell him about their favorite cartoons and toys. And when Lily climbed into Victor's lap without hesitation, looking up at him with complete trust, Maya watched the most dangerous man she'd ever known completely fall apart. You look like me, Lily said matter-of-factly, touching Victor's face. Noah does too. Victor's hand came up to cup the back of her head. His eyes squeezed shut. Yeah, sweetheart, you do. Are you our daddy? The question hung in the air. Maya held her breath, waiting. Victor looked at her, asking permission with his eyes. Maya found herself nodding, though she wasn't sure what she was agreeing to. Yes, Victor said, his voice wrecked. I'm your daddy. Okay. Lily accepted this with the easy adaptability of a toddler. Can you read us a story? And just like that, the impossible became real. Victor read them 3 books, doing different voices that made them shriek with laughter. He helped Noah build a tower with blocks, praised Lily's crayon drawings, and navigated the chaos of toddler care with surprising competence. Maya watched from the kitchen, her emotions a tangled mess. This was Victor Moreau, crime boss, killer, the man she'd run from because she'd been convinced he would destroy her, and he was on his knees in her living room being a father. When the twins went down for their nap, Maya and Victor stood in the hallway, the silence heavy between them. I meant what I said, Victor spoke first. About the proposal. About everything. Why should I believe you? Maya wrapped her arms around herself. You've lied before. About what you do. About who you are. I've never lied to you about my feelings. His eyes held hers. Everything else, yes. The business, the family operations. But never about loving you. Love isn't enough, Victor. Not when your life is built on violence. I know. He moved closer, careful not to crowd her. That's why I'm prepared to make you an offer. What kind of offer? Stay. For Noah's surgery. Let me be here for that. Victor's voice was steady, but his eyes were desperate. After he recovers, if you still want me to leave, I will. I'll set up a trust fund for the twins. Make sure you never have to worry about money. I'll stay out of your life except for occasional updates. But give me these 2 weeks, Maya. Let me be a father to them. Let me prove I can be what they need. Maya wanted to say no, wanted to protect her heart, protect her children from the inevitable pain of having Victor in their lives, only to lose him. But she thought of Noah's blue lips, his desperate struggle for air. She thought of Victor's face in the hospital, the raw terror and love. She thought of Lily's easy acceptance, Noah's quiet trust, and she thought of the ring Victor had carried for 3 years, the proposal that never happened, the life they might have had if she'd stayed, if she'd trusted him enough to listen. 2 weeks, she heard herself say. You can stay for 2 weeks, but then you decide, Victor finished. Whatever you choose, I'll accept it. Maya didn't believe that, couldn't believe it. Men like Victor didn't accept losing. But she nodded anyway, sealing a bargain she suspected would change everything. Victor's phone buzzed. He glanced at it, his expression darkening. I need to take this. Business. The kind of business I don't want to know about? Yes. At least he was honest. I'll step outside. Maya watched him go, then sank onto the couch, her head in her hands. What had she just agreed to? What was she doing, letting a mob boss into her children's lives? But when she looked down the hall toward the twins' room, toward Noah sleeping peacefully with his sister beside him, she knew the answer. She was doing what mothers have always done, whatever it took to keep her children safe and whole, even if it meant making a deal with the devil himself. Even if it meant facing the man she'd loved and feared in equal measure. Even if it meant admitting that maybe, just maybe, she'd been wrong about what Victor intended that night 3 years ago. Through the window, she could see Victor pacing in her small yard, phone to his ear, every line of his body radiating controlled violence. This was who he was. This was what he did. But then he turned, and his eyes found hers through the glass. And the expression on his face, fierce, protective, desperately hopeful, reminded her of the man she'd fallen in love with, the man who might have loved her all along. Maya closed her eyes, knowing she was standing at a crossroads. 2 weeks. 2 weeks to decide if redemption was possible. If a man built from darkness could become a father. If love could survive the weight of all the lies and fear and years of running. 2 weeks to decide if she could forgive him. 2 weeks to decide if she could forgive herself for still loving him. Outside, Victor ended his call and came back inside. He didn't speak, just sat beside her on the couch, close but not touching. What happens in 2 weeks? Maya asked quietly. After the surgery, when you're supposed to leave, what do you think will happen? Victor was silent for a long moment. Honestly, honestly, I think I'll walk away if you ask me to, because I promised I would. He turned to face her. But I think it will kill me. And I think every day for the rest of my life I'll regret not fighting harder to stay. You can't fight your way into someone's life, Victor. I know. That's why I'm not fighting. His hand moved, hovering near hers, but not quite touching. I'm asking, I'm waiting, I'm proving, whatever it takes. Maya looked at their hands, inches apart on the couch between them. 3 years ago, she'd run from this man. Today, she'd let him back into her life. Tomorrow, who knew what tomorrow would bring? But for now, for this moment, she had 2 weeks. 2 weeks to watch Victor be a father. 2 weeks to protect her heart or let it break again. 2 weeks to decide if the woman who ran could finally stop running. Outside, clouds were gathering again, promising another storm. But inside, in this small house that had been Maya's refuge, something else was building, something that felt dangerously like hope. The first 3 days passed in a careful dance of boundaries and broken walls. Victor arrived each morning at 8, carrying breakfast from a bakery in Seattle. Fresh croissants, fruit, coffee for Maya that was exactly how she used to take it. He never presumed to use a key, always knocked and waited, but the twins had started running to the door the moment they heard his car in the driveway. "Daddy!" Lily would shriek, launching herself into his arms before Maya could remind her to be careful. Victor would catch her effortlessly, his face transforming into something Maya barely recognized, pure, uncomplicated joy. Noah was more reserved, watching his father with those serious dark eyes, but even he had started reaching for Victor's hand when they went for walks around the neighborhood. Maya watched them from a few steps behind, her heart in constant conflict. This was what she'd wanted for her children, a father who loved them. But this father came with shadows she couldn't ignore. On the 4th morning, Victor arrived earlier than usual. Maya answered the door in her robe, coffee mug in hand, to find him holding not just breakfast, but a large envelope. "What's this?" she asked, stepping aside to let him in. Second and third opinions from Johns Hopkins and Stanford. Victor set the bakery bag on the counter and handed her the envelope. They all agree with Dr. Chen's assessment. The surgery should proceed as scheduled. Maya's hands trembled slightly as she opened the envelope, scanning the medical reports. The technical language was dense, but the conclusions were clear. Noah needed the surgery, and 2 weeks was the right timeline. She should have felt relieved. Instead, she felt the weight of what was coming settle heavier on her shoulders. "Mama sad?" Lily appeared in the kitchen doorway, her stuffed rabbit dragging behind her. "No, baby. Mama's okay." Maya set down the reports and scooped up her daughter. "Did you sleep good?" "Uh-huh. Is Daddy staying for breakfast?" The casual way Lily said Daddy still made Maya's chest tight. 3 days. It had taken 3 days for her children to accept Victor completely, to fold him into their small world like he'd always been there. "If that's okay with your mom," Victor said carefully, his eyes on Maya. She wanted to say no. Wanted to maintain some distance, some protection against the inevitable moment when this fragile piece shattered. But Noah had appeared too, still in his dinosaur pajamas, and he was looking at Victor with an expression that broke Maya's heart. Hope. Her son was looking at his father with hope. "Of course you can stay," Maya heard herself say. They ate breakfast together at the small kitchen table, Lily chattering about the birds outside her window, Noah quietly eating his fruit while leaning against Victor's arm. It felt domestic, normal, dangerous. "I need to make a trip," Victor said after the twins wandered off to play. "To Chicago. Business I can't handle remotely." Maya's coffee cup stopped halfway to her lips. "When?" "Tomorrow. I'll be gone 2 days, maybe 3. He met her eyes. "I'm telling you this because I promised transparency, but also because I want you to know. I'm coming back. This isn't me walking away." "Your business in Chicago? The kind I don't want to know about?" Victor's jaw tightened. "Some of it, but also the kind I need to finish. Permanently." "What does that mean?" He was quiet for a long moment, his fingers drumming against the table, a tell she remembered from before, when he was working through a difficult decision. "It means I'm getting out, Maya. Not overnight. These things take time, careful planning, but I'm extracting myself from the family operations. Maya set down her cup before she dropped it. You're lying. I'm not. People like you don't just get out, Victor. That's not how this works. People like me don't usually have reasons to get out. His hand moved across the table, stopping just short of touching hers. I have two very good reasons sleeping in the next room, and one sitting right here. Don't. Maya pulled her hand back. Don't make this about me. I'm not your redemption story. No, Victor agreed quietly. You're the woman I love who deserves better than what I've been. And maybe I can't be perfect. Maybe I can't erase everything I've done, but I can try to be better. For them. For you. Maya wanted to believe him. God, she wanted to believe him. But she'd spent 3 years learning that wanting something didn't make it true. How? She asked instead. How do you just walk away from an empire? Carefully. There are people I trust, people who can take over the legitimate businesses. The rest, he paused. The rest I'm dismantling, selling off, shutting down. It won't happen in 2 weeks, maybe not even in 2 months. But it's happening. Because of us. Because of you. Victor's voice was raw. I thought I needed that power, that control. I thought it made me strong. But when I saw Noah in that hospital bed, when I realized I could lose him before I ever really knew him, he stopped, collecting himself. That's when I understood what real power is. It's not fear or money or control. It's being the man my children can be proud of, the man you don't have to run from. Lily's laughter carried from the living room, followed by Noah's quieter giggle. The sounds of her children's happiness, so rare and precious. Go to Chicago, Maya said finally. Do what you need to do. But Victor, I know. He stood, and this time he did touch her hand just briefly. I know you don't trust me yet. I'm going to earn it, however long it takes. After Victor left, Maya sat at the kitchen table for a long time, staring at the medical reports. 2 weeks until Noah's surgery. 2 weeks until she had to make a choice about Victor's place in their lives. 2 weeks to figure out if a man could really change. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. The car watching your house. Gray sedan, 2 men. They're mine. Security. You won't see them unless you need to. Maya moved to the window. Sure enough, a gray sedan was parked 3 houses down. She'd noticed it yesterday, but assumed it belonged to a neighbor. Now, knowing Victor had put guards on her house without asking, she should have been angry. Instead, she felt something uncomfortably close to relief. Because whoever Victor was running from in Chicago, whoever had threatened him enough to bring him to her door, they were still out there. And Maya had been running alone for 3 years. Part of her was exhausted from the constant vigilance. Part of her wanted to let someone else keep watch. Just for a little while. She texted back, "Tell your men to stay invisible. I don't want the twins scared." The response came immediately. Already instructed. They're the best. Former special forces. No one will get near you. Maya deleted both messages and went to check on her children, trying not to think about the fact that she needed armed guards. Trying not to think about what waited for Victor in Chicago, or what he might have to do to extract himself from that world. Trying not to think about how easily she'd accepted his protection. The next morning, Victor's goodbye was brief. He knelt down to hug both twins, promising to be back soon, then stood and looked at Maya with an expression she couldn't quite read. "Be careful," she said, the words slipping out before she could stop them. Something shifted in his face. "Always. Keep your phone on. Marcus will be here if you need anything. We'll be fine. I know." But he hesitated at the door like leaving was physically painful. "Maya, just go. Come back safe." She softened the words with something that wasn't quite a smile. "They need you. I need you." She didn't say it, but it hung in the air between them anyway. Victor left, and the house felt immediately emptier. The twins asked for him 3 times before lunch. Maya distracted them with activities, with park visits, with anything to keep from checking her phone every 5 minutes. She made it until 8 that night before texting. "Did you land safely?" Victor's response? "Yes. Meeting running late. Tell them good night for me." Maya read the message to the twins at bedtime. Lily insisted on drawing a picture for Daddy, a crayon mess of stick figures that was somehow perfect. Noah just nodded quietly, but his small hand clutched the toy car Victor had given him. The next day crawled. Maya threw herself into work, into playing with the twins, into anything that kept her mind occupied. The security detail remained invisible but present. She'd started noticing the small signs. The way Marcus's car was always within a block. The way the gray sedan repositioned when they went to the park. It should have felt oppressive. Instead, it felt like breathing room. On the second night, her phone rang at 11. Maya grabbed it, heart pounding, expecting bad news. "Did I wake you?" Victor's voice was tired. "No, can't sleep." Maya moved to the window, looking out at the quiet street. "How's Chicago?" "Complicated." She heard him moving, the rustle of fabric. "I'm making progress. Should be done tomorrow." "Is it dangerous? What you're doing?" Victor was quiet for a moment. Honestly? Honestly. Yes, but less dangerous than continuing as things were." He paused. "I'm meeting with the heads of the other families tomorrow, proposing a transition plan. If they accept it, I can walk away clean. And if they don't? Then it gets messy." His voice hardened. "But I'm not walking away from this, Maya. From you and the twins, whatever it takes." Maya's throat tightened. "Don't get yourself killed for us." "I'm not getting killed, I'm getting free." She heard the smile in his voice. "How are they?" "Missing you. Lily drew you a picture. Noah keeps asking when you're coming home." "Home?" Victor repeated the word like it was foreign. "Tell them I'll be there tomorrow night. I promise." "Victor." Maya didn't know what she wanted to say. "Be careful. Come back. I'm scared. I'm starting to trust you, and it terrifies me." "I know," he said softly, like he could hear all of it anyway. "I know, sweetheart. Get some sleep. I'll see you tomorrow." The endearment hit her like a physical thing, sweetheart. He used to call her that before in quiet moments when they thought no one was listening. Maya hung up before she could say something she'd regret, but she slept better that night than she had in months. Victor returned the next evening exactly when he'd promised. The twins tackled him at the door, and he caught them both, swinging them around while they shrieked with delight. Over their heads, his eyes found Maya's. "It's done," he said simply. Later, after the twins were in bed, Victor and Maya sat on the small back porch, watching the stars emerge. He'd showered and changed into casual clothes that Maya had never seen him wear, jeans and a simple shirt that made him look younger, less dangerous. "The families accepted your proposal?" Maya asked. "Yes. It took some negotiating, some concessions, but they're satisfied." Victor leaned back in his chair, exhaustion evident in every line of his body. "I'm out of the operations that matter. The rest is just paperwork and transitioning legitimate holdings." "That simple?" "God, no." He laughed without humor. "I had to make deals, give up territory, agree to stay out of Chicago for 2 years. I had to convince very dangerous men that I wasn't betraying them or showing weakness. But it's done." Maya processed this. "You gave up Chicago, your entire base of operations, for 2 weeks with strangers who happen to be your children." "Not strangers." Victor turned to look at her. "My family. And not for 2 weeks. For however long you'll let me stay." "Victor, I know you haven't decided yet. I know you might still tell me to leave, but I need you to understand something." He shifted in his chair, his intensity almost overwhelming. "What I built in Chicago, that power, that empire, it was all I had. It was who I was, but it wasn't enough. It was never enough. And when I found you again, when I saw what we could have been," his voice cracked, "I can't go back to that emptiness. I won't." Maya's hands twisted in her lap. "You can't put that on me. I can't be responsible for your redemption. You're not responsible for anything. I am. I'm responsible for driving you away 3 years ago. I'm responsible for not finding you sooner, for missing the first 2 years of my children's lives." Victor's eyes glittered in the porch light. "But I'm also responsible for what happens next. And I choose this. I choose you, if you'll have me. I choose them, no matter what. I choose a different life." "People don't change that fast." "No," he agreed. "They don't. I'm not different, Maya. Not completely. I'm still the man who built an empire on fear. Still capable of violence when necessary. Still dangerous," he met her eyes. "But I'm also a father now, and that changes everything." Maya wanted to argue, to protect herself from the hope building in her chest, but she thought about the past week. Victor on the floor playing blocks, Victor reading bedtime stories, Victor's face when Noah called him Daddy for the first time. The surgery's in 9 days, she said instead. I know. What happens after, when Noah's recovered and you've served your 2 weeks? Victor stood, moving to lean against the porch railing. That depends on you. I meant what I said. If you want me to leave, I will. I'll set up the trust fund, arrange for updates, stay out of your daily life. But Maya, he turned back to face her, I'm hoping you won't ask me to. Why? So you can play house, pretend you're a normal dad with a normal family? No. His voice was quiet but firm. So I can be a father to my children. So I can earn back your trust. So maybe someday you might forgive me for not being the man you needed 3 years ago. Maya stood too, her emotions too turbulent to sit still. I was pregnant and terrified, convinced you were going to kill me to protect your secrets. Do you understand how that felt? To love someone and fear them in the same breath? Yes. Victor moved closer, careful not to crowd her. Because that's exactly how I felt when I realized you were gone. Love and fear. Fear that something had happened to you. Fear that I'd driven away the only real thing in my life. Fear that I'd never see you again. You had resources. You could have found me earlier if you'd really tried. I looked for 2.5 years, Maya. Every day. Every resource I had. His hands clenched at his sides. And then I stopped. Why? Because I thought you were dead. The words fell like stones. I found evidence of a car accident in Nebraska, a woman matching your description. No body recovered from the river, but the car was yours. The plates, the VIN, everything matched. Maya's breath caught. The car I abandoned. I left it at a rest stop, took a bus east. I know that now, but then Victor's composure cracked. For 6 months, I thought you were dead. I grieved you, Maya. And then 5 months ago, one of my people picked up a trail, a woman using false names, working remotely, living in Washington. When he sent me the photograph, he pulled out his phone, showed her a picture. Maya in the grocery store, both twins in the cart, her face partially hidden by her hair, but unmistakably her. I knew immediately, Victor continued. And I saw them, saw their faces, knew they were mine. His voice dropped to a whisper. And I realized you'd been alive this whole time, raising our children alone, afraid of me. Maya's eyes burned. Why didn't you come then? Why wait 5 months? Because I didn't know if you'd run again, didn't know if confronting you would put you in danger, from me, or from people who might use you against me. Victor set down his phone. So I watched, made sure you were safe, made sure you had everything you needed, and tried to figure out how to approach you without destroying everything you'd built. The threat you mentioned, the one that brought you here. Partially true. There was a threat, but I'd already decided to come. I just needed an excuse to explain the timing. Victor's smile was bitter. Turns out I'm a coward when it comes to you. I didn't know how to just knock on your door and say, I know about the twins. Maya sank back into her chair, her mind reeling. 6 months of Victor thinking she was dead. 5 months of him watching from the shadows, protecting them without interfering. The careful way he'd approached, the patience, the deference to her authority as the twins' mother, it all made a different kind of sense now. You should have told me, she said finally, about thinking I was dead, about watching us. Yes, I should have. Add it to the list of things I've done wrong. Victor returned to his chair, leaving space between them. I'm trying to do better, be better. But I'm going to make mistakes, Maya. I've never been a father before, never tried to earn back trust I destroyed. I'm going to get it wrong sometimes. That's what scares me. Maya looked at him, seeing all the contradictions he contained. You're asking me to trust you with my children's hearts, with my heart. And I don't know if I can survive you breaking them again. Then don't trust me yet. Victor leaned forward, his eyes intense. Watch me, test me, make me prove it, but give me the chance to try. A sound from inside made them both freeze. Noah, crying out in his sleep. Maya was up and moving before she could think, Victor right behind her. Noah was tangled in his blankets, thrashing in the grip of a nightmare. Maya gathered him up, murmuring soothing words, while Victor hovered nearby, clearly wanting to help but unsure how. Bad dream, baby? Maya smoothed Noah's sweat-damp hair. Monster, Noah whimpered. Big monster with teeth. No monsters here. You're safe. Daddy, chase it away? The question was directed at Victor. Maya watched her son reach for his father, watched Victor's face transform as he took Noah into his arms. Yeah, buddy, I'll chase away all the monsters. Victor's voice was thick. I promise, nothing's going to hurt you. Noah curled against Victor's chest, his small body relaxing almost immediately. Within minutes, he was asleep again. Victor stood there holding him, looking down at his son's face with an expression of such profound love that Maya had to look away. Here, she pulled back Noah's blanket. Lay him down. Victor settled Noah back into bed with infinite care, tucking the blanket around him. Lily stirred but didn't wake. They stood there for a moment, watching the twins sleep, and Maya felt the shift happening inside her, the walls she'd built cracking just a little more. Back on the porch, the silence felt different, heavier with things unsaid. He trusts you, Maya said quietly. Completely. Both of them do. And you? Maya took a breath. I'm getting there. Slower. But I'm trying. That's all I ask. Victor stood. I should go. Let you get some sleep. Victor? Maya stood too. Tomorrow, would you want to come to Noah's pre-op appointment? Dr. Chen wants to go over the surgical plan. Something blazed in Victor's eyes. Hope, maybe. Or gratitude. Yes. Absolutely yes. Okay. Maya walked him to the door, acutely aware of how domestic this felt. The good night at the door, the plans for tomorrow. 8 o'clock. Don't be late. I won't. Victor paused on the threshold. Thank you for letting me be part of this. After he left, Maya checked the locks and returned to the twins' room, watching them sleep. In 9 days, Noah would have surgery. Doctors would stop his heart, repair the defect, start it again. The thought terrified her. But Victor would be there. For the first time in 3 years, she wouldn't have to face the terror alone. Maya pulled out her phone, typed a message before she could second guess. I'm glad you're here. Victor's response came within seconds. Me too. Sleep well, sweetheart. That word again. Sweetheart. Maya closed her eyes, letting herself feel it, the dangerous, terrifying possibility that maybe this could work. That maybe Victor really was changing, that maybe love could be enough. She didn't know yet, couldn't promise anything. But for the first time since opening her door to find him standing in the rain, Maya felt something other than fear. She felt possibility. The pre-op appointment the next morning was thorough and overwhelming. Dr. Chen walked them through every step of the procedure. How they'd put Noah under, how they'd stop his heart and put him on bypass, how they'd repair the septal defect and restart his heart. She showed them diagrams, explained risks and recovery timelines, answered Victor's endless questions with patient professionalism. Noah sat in Maya's lap through all of it, playing with a toy truck, blissfully unaware that they were planning to open his chest in 8 days. Any other questions? Dr. Chen asked. What's the worst-case scenario? Victor's voice was steady, but Maya saw his hands gripping the chair arms. What do we need to be prepared for? Dr. Chen's expression grew serious. The worst case would be complications during surgery, bleeding, infection, or heart rhythm problems. The mortality rate for this procedure is less than 2%, but I won't tell you there's no risk. We'll have the best cardiac team in the state in that operating room, but yes, there is always risk. Maya's arms tightened around Noah. 2%. 98% chance of success. But that 2%, we'll be ready. Victor's hand found hers, squeezed gently. Whatever happens, we'll face it together. The certainty in his voice steadied her. Maya squeezed back, a silent acknowledgement of partnership. After the appointment, Victor took them to lunch, a small diner where the twins could be loud and messy without judgment. Lily chattered about everything and nothing, while Noah picked at his grilled cheese, unusually quiet. You okay, buddy? Victor asked, noticing. Noah looked up at his father with those 2 serious eyes. The doctor's gonna fix my heart? That's right. Will it hurt? Victor glanced at Maya, silently asking permission. She nodded. You'll be asleep, Victor explained gently. You won't feel anything, and when you wake up, your heart will be all better. You'll be able to run and play without getting tired. Promise? I promise. Victor held out his pinky. Pinky swear! Noah hooked his tiny pinky around his father's. Okay. The simple trust nearly broke Maya. She excused herself to the restroom, needing a moment to collect herself. In the mirror, she looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes, worry etched into every feature. 8 more days. 8 days until they put her baby under anesthesia and cut open his chest. 8 days of wondering if she was making the right choice, if she should get another opinion, if she should run and keep running and maybe somehow outrun the defect in Noah's heart. Her phone buzzed. Victor, you okay? Maya typed back, just needed a minute. Take all the time you need. We're fine out here. When she returned to the table, Victor had ordered ice cream for everyone. Noah and Lily were covered in chocolate, laughing at something Victor had said. The picture of normalcy. Better? Victor asked quietly when she sat down. Getting there. Maya accepted the ice cream he'd ordered for her, the same flavor she used to love, because of course he remembered. This is hard. I know. His hand found hers under the table. But we're going to get through it. All of us. Maya wanted to believe him, wanted to trust in that confidence, that certainty. So she held his hand and ate her ice cream and watched her children be happy, and tried not to count down the days until everything changed. That night, after the twins were asleep, Victor didn't leave immediately. Instead, he helped Maya clean up the dinner dishes, moving around her small kitchen like he belonged there. You don't have to do this, Maya said, watching him dry plates. I know, I want to. He set down a plate, turned to face her. These past few days, being here, being part of their routine, it's everything I didn't know I needed. It's not always this peaceful. They have tantrums. They fight over toys. They refuse to eat vegetables and throw epic fits at bedtime. Victor smiled. Good. I want all of it. The tantrums and the tears and the chaos. I want to be here for the hard parts, not just the easy ones. Maya dried her hands, leaning against the counter. What did you think would happen when you came here? When you knocked on my door? Honestly, I thought you'd slam the door in my face, maybe call the police. Victor's expression grew distant. I thought I'd have to beg just for 5 minutes of your time. I never imagined you'd let me into their lives this quickly. I didn't have much choice. Noah's asthma attack forced the issue. Maybe, or maybe some part of you wanted to let me in. Victor moved closer, careful and slow. Maybe some part of you still remembers what we had, before everything went wrong. Maya's breath caught. Don't. Why not? We're both dancing around it, pretending the past doesn't exist. But it does, Maya. We happened. We were real. We were a lie. You lied about who you were. I never lied about loving you. Victor's intensity pinned her in place. Everything else, yes, but never that. Never us. Maya closed her eyes, overwhelmed. I can't do this right now. Noah's surgery, the stress. I can't handle this too. Immediately, Victor stepped back. You're right. I'm sorry. Bad timing. It's not about timing. Maya opened her eyes, met his gaze. It's about the fact that I don't know if I can trust what we had, if it was real or if I imagined it because I wanted it so badly. It was real. Victor's voice was quiet but absolute. The most real thing in my life. I know you can't believe that yet, but it's true. They stood in the small kitchen, the weight of 3 years between them, and Maya felt herself balanced on a knife's edge. She could step forward or step back, could open her heart or keep it locked away, could take the risk or stay safe. 7 days, she said finally. 7 days until the surgery. Let's focus on that, on Noah. Everything else can wait. Victor nodded slowly. 7 days, whatever you need. He left and Maya locked the door behind him, pressing her forehead against the cool wood. 7 days until Noah's surgery. 7 days until she had to make decisions about Victor's place in their lives. 7 days until everything changed one way or another. and Maya was terrified of all of it. The 7 days collapsed into a blur of preparation and mounting anxiety. Maya filled prescriptions, arranged for time off work, packed bags for the hospital stay. Victor was there for all of it, handling details she hadn't even thought of, arranging for a private recovery room, ensuring the hospital had everything Noah might want during his stay, even bringing in a child life specialist to help prepare the twins for what was coming. Noah's going to have a special adventure at the hospital, the specialist, a kind woman named Jennifer, explained to both children on day 5. She used dolls and picture books to show them what would happen. The doctors are going to fix his heart, so it works even better. Will there be blood? Lily asked with the morbid curiosity of a toddler. The doctors will make sure Noah doesn't feel any pain, Jennifer said gently. And when he wakes up, he might have some bandages, but he'll be getting stronger every day. Noah listened intently, his small hand gripping the toy truck Victor had given him. Can Daddy stay with me? Jennifer smiled. Your mama and Daddy will both be right there when you wake up. After Jennifer left, Noah climbed into Victor's lap, something he'd been doing more and more often. I'm scared, he whispered against his father's chest. Victor's arms closed around him, and Maya saw her son's confession hit him like a physical blow. I know, buddy. It's okay to be scared. I'm scared too. You are? Noah pulled back to look at Victor's face. Yeah, because I love you so much, and I don't want you to hurt. Victor's voice was thick. But you know what? The doctors are really, really good at what they do. And your mama and I will be right there the whole time. You won't be alone. Promise? Promise. Victor pressed a kiss to Noah's forehead. You're the bravest kid I know. Maya watched from the doorway, her heart fracturing. This was what she'd wanted, a father who loved her children completely. But seeing it, feeling it, made everything more complicated. Because Victor wasn't just playing a role anymore. He was all in, and when Noah came through that surgery, when the crisis passed and life returned to normal, Maya would have to decide if Victor stayed or went, and she still didn't know which choice would hurt less. That night, after the twins were asleep, Victor found Maya sitting on the back porch, staring at nothing. Can't sleep? He asked quietly. Keep running through everything in my head. What if we forgot something? What if there's a complication? What if... Her voice broke. What if something goes wrong? Victor sat beside her, close enough that their shoulders touched. Then we'll handle it. Together. But Maya, you can't live in the what-ifs. It'll drive you crazy. How are you so calm? I'm not. Victor's laugh was hollow. I'm terrified. But I learned a long time ago that fear doesn't change outcomes. Action does. So I focus on what I can control, making sure the best team is in that operating room, making sure Noah has everything he needs for recovery, making sure you're not carrying this alone. Maya turned to look at him. In the porch light, she could see the exhaustion in his face, the worry he tried to hide from the children. You really love them. More than my own life. Victor met her eyes. I never understood what that meant before, loving someone more than yourself. But the moment I saw them, he stopped, collecting himself. I would die for them, Maya, without hesitation, without question. I know. And she did. She'd seen it in every interaction, every gentle touch, every fierce promise. That's what scares me. Why? Because if you walk away after this, it'll destroy them. They already love you, already depend on you. And if you decide this is too hard, too complicated, if you go back to Chicago and your old life, I'm not going anywhere. Victor caught her hand, his grip urgent. I told you, I'm out. I meant it. Whatever happens after the surgery, whether you want me here or not, I'm staying in Washington. I'll find a place nearby, arrange visitation, be as present as you'll allow. But I'm not disappearing from their lives. What about your business? Your empire? Being dismantled as we speak. I have people handling the transition. Victor's thumb stroked across her knuckles, the touch achingly familiar. I kept some legitimate investments, enough to live comfortably, support the twins, take care of you if you'll let me. But the rest? Gone. I don't want that life anymore. Maya wanted to argue, to find the flaw in his logic, the moment when this would all fall apart. But sitting there in the darkness, Victor's hand warm in hers, she couldn't find it. Instead, she found herself leaning into him, just slightly, accepting the comfort he offered. "I'm still angry at you," she said quietly, "for what happened 3 years ago, for not finding me sooner, for all of it. I know, you have every right to be. But I'm also grateful you're here now, for Noah's surgery, for—" She stopped, the words catching in her throat. "For what?" Victor prompted gently. "For being the father they deserve. Even if I'm not ready for anything else, I can acknowledge that." Maya pulled her hand back, needing the distance. "After the surgery, after Noah recovers, we'll figure out what comes next. But right now, can we just focus on getting through this?" "Whatever you need," Victor agreed. "I'm here, however you want me." They sat in silence for a while, the weight of the coming day pressing down on both of them. Finally, Maya stood. "I should try to sleep. 4:30 comes early." "Maya." Victor stood too, his expression uncertain. "Can I ask you something?" "Maybe." "That night 3 years ago, when you saw the ledger, if I had explained immediately, if I had told you about the proposal, would you have stayed?" Maya considered the question, really thought about it. "I don't know. I was so scared, Victor. Not just of you, but of that whole world. The violence, the danger, the constant looking over my shoulder. I don't know if love would have been enough to overcome that fear. And now? Now I have 2 children who need their father." Maya met his eyes. "So I'm trying to be brave enough to let you stay. But it's a process. You're going to have to be patient with me." "I can do patient." Victor's smile was small but genuine. "I've waited 3 years to find you again. I can wait as long as you need." After he left, Maya checked on the twins one more time. Noah was sleeping peacefully, his chest rising and falling with easy breaths. In 2 days, doctors would stop that heart, repair it, restart it. The thought made her physically ill. She climbed into bed, but sleep wouldn't come. Her mind raced through worst-case scenarios, medical complications, the horrible 2% chance that Noah wouldn't make it through surgery. Finally, at 2 in the morning, she gave up and went to the living room, pulling out the emergency bag she'd packed 3 years ago and never fully unpacked. Inside were the essentials: cash, fake IDs, bus tickets to nowhere. The tools of running. Maya sat on the floor holding the bag and realized she didn't want to run anymore. Didn't want to keep looking over her shoulder, keep her children moving from place to place, keep living in fear. For the first time in 3 years, Maya wanted to stay put, wanted to build a real life, a stable home, wanted her children to have roots instead of wings built from desperation, and somehow, impossibly, Victor had become part of that vision. The day before surgery arrived with cruel brightness. Maya woke the twins early, gave them the special pre-surgery bath, dressed them in comfortable clothes. Noah was unusually clingy, sensing something big was coming. Lily kept asking questions Maya didn't know how to answer. Victor arrived at 7 with breakfast and a gift bag. "I thought Noah might want something to hold on to," he explained, pulling out a stuffed lion. "Lions are brave. Like him." Noah clutched the lion immediately, his small fingers tangling in its mane. "Thank you, Daddy." The simple gratitude made Victor's eyes shine with unshed tears. He cleared his throat, pulled out a second, smaller lion. "And this one's for Lily, so she doesn't feel left out." "They're twins," Lily declared, delighted. "Like us." They spent the day quietly. Victor read stories, played games, helped Maya do laundry, and packed the hospital bag. They took the twins to the park one last time, watched them play in the autumn sunshine, tried to memorize every detail of this moment before everything changed. "Stop looking at them like that," Maya said as they sat on a bench watching the twins on the swings. "Like what?" "Like you're memorizing them. Like this is the last time." Her voice trembled. "He's going to be fine." "I know." But Victor's hands were clenched on his knees, his jaw tight. "I just keep thinking about all the time I've already missed. 2.5 years. First words, first steps, all of it. Gone. You're here now. That's what matters." Victor turned to look at her. "Is it enough to make up for being absent?" "I don't know," Maya answered honestly. "But it's a start." That evening, they had an early dinner, Noah's favorite macaroni and cheese with dinosaur-shaped chicken nuggets. He barely ate. Lily chattered enough for both of them, but even she seemed to sense the tension. Bath time was subdued. Maya washed Noah's hair, careful and gentle, while he clutched his stuffed lion. Lily insisted Victor wash her hair, and he did it with surprising competence, getting soap everywhere and making her giggle. "Story time," Lily demanded once they were in pajamas. They all piled onto Noah and Lily's beds, Maya and Lily on one, Victor and Noah on the other, and Victor read from their favorite book. His voice was steady, soothing, and Maya found herself relaxing slightly, lulled by the familiar rhythm. When the story ended, Noah looked up at his father. "Daddy, will you stay tonight?" Victor glanced at Maya, asking permission. She nodded. "Yeah, buddy, I'll stay." "In my room?" "If your mama says it's okay." Noah turned his pleading eyes on Maya. "Please, mama, I don't want to be alone." "Okay, baby, daddy can stay." They set up a makeshift bed on the floor, blankets and pillows from the closet. Noah insisted on moving his mattress down to be next to Victor. Lily decided this looked fun and dragged her mattress down too. Suddenly, they were all camping on the bedroom floor. The twins nestled between Maya and Victor like they were the most natural family in the world. "Tell us about the stars again," Lily whispered, already half asleep. Maya started the story, but her voice caught. Victor picked it up seamlessly, weaving a tale about brave lions and twin stars who protected each other. The twins' breathing evened out, sleep claiming them despite their anxiety. Maya and Victor lay there in the darkness, their children between them, and the silence felt sacred somehow. "Thank you," Victor whispered, "for letting me have this." "They need you," Maya whispered back. "I can't deny them that." "What about you? What do you need?" Maya didn't answer. Couldn't. Because what she needed was complicated. Safety and trust and time to heal. What she needed was for the surgery to be over, for Noah to be healthy, for the fear to stop choking her every moment. What she needed was impossible to articulate. "Sleep," Victor said softly. "Tomorrow's going to be hard. You need rest." For once, Maya didn't argue. She closed her eyes, listening to her children's breathing, and let herself drift off with Victor's presence a steady anchor in the darkness. The alarm went off at 4:30, brutal and unwelcome. Maya jolted awake, momentarily disoriented by sleeping on the floor. Then memory crashed back and her stomach twisted into knots. Surgery day. Victor was already up, moving quietly so as not to wake the twins. He touched Maya's shoulder gently. "I'll make coffee. Take your time." Maya nodded, unable to speak past the lump in her throat. She watched him leave the room, then looked at her sleeping children. Noah's small hand was wrapped around his lion, his face peaceful in sleep. In a few hours, he'd be in an operating room, his chest open, his heart exposed. The thought made her want to grab him and run. Instead, she gently woke both twins. "Time to get up, babies." Lily woke cheerfully, but Noah was quiet and pale. He clung to his lion while Maya dressed him in the hospital-approved clothes, soft pants and a button-up shirt for easy IV access. "I don't want to go," Noah whispered as Maya combed his hair. "I know, sweetheart, but the doctors are going to make you feel so much better. You won't get tired when you play anymore. Won't have trouble breathing." "But it's scary." "It is scary, but Mama and Daddy will be right there. You won't be alone." Maya pulled him into her lap, breathing in his little boy scent. "You're so brave, Noah. So much braver than you know." Victor appeared in the doorway. "Car's packed. Whenever you're ready." The drive to the hospital was surreal. Dawn was breaking, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. Lily sang songs in the back seat, completely unaware of the gravity of the situation. Noah just held his lion and stared out the window. Victor drove with steady competence, but Maya saw the tension in his shoulders, the white-knuckled grip on the steering wheel. He was as terrified as she was, just hiding it better. They checked in at the surgical center at 6. A nurse led them to a pre-op room where Noah would be prepped. The room was decorated with cheerful murals, clearly designed to calm anxious children, but it only made Maya feel worse. "Okay, Noah, let's get you into this special gown," the nurse said with practiced cheer. "You can keep your lion with you." Maya helped Noah change, her hands shaking. Victor kept Lily entertained in the corner, reading her a book, giving Maya space to focus on Noah. Dr. Chen appeared at 6:30, professional and reassuring. "Good morning. How's our patient?" "Scared," Noah said honestly. "That's very brave of you to say." Dr. Chen knelt down to Noah's level. "Being scared is okay, but I promise, we're going to take very good care of you. When you wake up, your heart is going to work perfectly. You'll be a superhero." "Really?" "Really. You'll have a special scar that proves how brave you are." Dr. Chen stood, addressing Maya and Victor. "The procedure should take about 4 hours. We'll keep you updated. Any last questions?" Maya had a million questions, but none that would change anything. She shook her head mutely. "All right. We'll come get him in about 15 minutes. Take this time to be together as a family." After Dr. Chen left, Victor brought Lily over. The four of them sat together on the hospital bed, the twins between their parents. "I love you so much," Maya whispered to Noah, "more than all the stars in the sky." "Love you too, Mama." Noah's eyes were enormous, frightened. Victor cleared his throat. "Noah, I need to tell you something. I know we haven't known each other very long, but I'm so proud to be your dad. You're the bravest, smartest, most amazing kid I've ever met, and I'm going to be right here when you wake up, I promise." "You won't leave?" "Never," Victor's voice cracked. "I'm not going anywhere." The surgical team arrived too soon. Noah started crying, clinging to Maya. "I don't want to go. Please, Mama. Don't make me go." Maya's heart shattered. She looked at Victor helplessly, tears streaming down her face. Victor gently took Noah from her arms. "Hey, buddy, look at me." He waited until Noah's frightened eyes met his. "Remember what I told you about being scared? It's okay, but you know what? Your mama and I are going to be so brave for you. We're going to wait right here, and when you wake up, we'll be the first thing you see. Can you be brave too? Can you do this?" Noah's chin trembled, but he nodded. "I can be brave. That's my boy." Victor kissed his forehead, then handed him to the nurse with visible reluctance. "We love you. See you soon." They wheeled Noah away, his small hand clutching the stuffed lion, his eyes locked on his parents until the doors closed between them. Maya's legs gave out. Victor caught her, held her up, and for a moment they just stood there, two parents watching their child disappear into surgery, united in their terror. "He's going to be fine," Victor said, but his voice was shaking. "You don't know that." "Yes, I do." Victor guided her to a chair, sat beside her with Lily in his lap. "He's strong. He's a fighter. And he has the best team in the state taking care of him." The waiting room was designed for comfort. Soft chairs, soothing colors, a play area for siblings. It felt like a cage. Maya couldn't sit still, couldn't stop pacing, couldn't stop imagining what was happening behind those surgical doors. Victor handled Lily, keeping her occupied with books and snacks, giving Maya space to fall apart, which she did, quietly, in the corner, where her daughter couldn't see. At 7:30, a nurse came out with an update. "They've started the procedure. Everything's going smoothly so far." At 8:15, another update. "They're on bypass, heart stopped, beginning the repair." Maya thought she might vomit. Noah's heart was stopped. Her baby's heart was stopped. And if something went wrong, breathe. Victor was suddenly there, his hands on her shoulders. "Maya, breathe. You're hyperventilating." "His heart isn't beating," she gasped. They stopped his heart. And what if the machine is breathing for him, beating for him? This is all part of the plan. Victor pulled her into his arms, and Maya let him, needing the anchor. "He's okay. He's going to be okay." Maya buried her face in Victor's chest and sobbed. 3 years of fear, of running, of carrying everything alone. It all poured out in that waiting room while machines kept her son's heart beating. Victor just held her, one arm around Maya, the other holding Lily, and whispered promises he had no way of keeping. But Maya needed them anyway, needed to believe that love could be enough, that hope wasn't foolish, that her baby would come back to her whole and healthy. At 9:30, Dr. Chen emerged, still in scrubs. Maya's heart stopped. "He's okay," Dr. Chen said immediately, seeing their faces. "The repair went perfectly. We're restarting his heart now." "And?" Victor's voice was hoarse. Strong, steady rhythm, no complications. He's doing beautifully. Dr. Chen smiled. Another hour to close and get him stable, then you can see him in recovery. Maya's knees buckled again. Victor caught her, held her up. Thank you, he managed. Thank you so much. After Dr. Chen left, Maya and Victor just stood there, holding each other, and Lily, letting the relief wash over them. He's okay, Maya whispered. He's really okay. Told you. Victor's cheek rested against her hair. Told you he'd be fine. They sank into chairs, the adrenaline draining away and leaving exhaustion in its wake. Lily had fallen asleep against Victor's chest. Maya felt hollowed out, wrung dry. Thank you, she said quietly, for being here, for keeping me together. There's nowhere else I'd be. Victor adjusted Lily in his arms, his eyes on Maya. This is where I belong, with all of you. An hour later, they were allowed into recovery. Noah looked so small in the hospital bed, tubes and monitors everywhere, a thick bandage covering his chest. But his eyes were open, hazy with medication, and when he saw them, he smiled weakly. Mama, Daddy. Maya was at his side instantly, carefully avoiding the IV lines as she took his hand. Hi, baby. You did so good. So good. I was brave, Noah whispered. You were. Victor stood on the other side of the bed, his hand gentle on Noah's forehead. You were incredibly brave. Hurts a little? I know, buddy. The medicine will help. You just rest. Victor's voice was thick with emotion. We're right here. Not going anywhere. Noah's eyes drifted closed, and Maya watched his chest rise and fall, the monitor beeping steadily with each heartbeat. A fixed heart. A repaired heart. Her baby was going to be okay. Over Noah's sleeping form, Maya's eyes met Victor's. He looked as wrecked as she felt, exhausted, relieved, still terrified in the aftermath. We did it, she whispered. Yeah. Victor's hand found hers across the bed, their fingers linking over their sleeping son. We did. And in that moment, something shifted in Maya's chest. Not forgiveness, not yet, not complete trust, but the beginning of something. The tentative possibility that maybe, just maybe, they could build something real from the ruins of their past. That maybe Victor really could be the father her children deserved. That maybe, someday, he could be the partner she needed. Don't let go, Maya said quietly, not entirely sure if she meant his hand or something deeper. Victor's fingers tightened around hers. Never. I promise. Maya. Never again. The first 24 hours after surgery blurred together in a haze of monitoring and medication adjustments. Noah drifted in and out of consciousness, each time reaching for Maya or Victor with small, seeking hands. They took turns at his bedside, one sleeping while the other kept watch, a rhythm born of necessity and shared fear. Lily stayed with Mrs. Patterson for the first night, but by the second day she was demanding to see her brother. Victor brought her to the hospital that afternoon, and the moment she saw Noah hooked up to all the machines, her little face crumpled. Noah's hurt, she whimpered, backing into Victor's legs. He's getting better, Victor corrected gently, lifting her up. See? He's awake. Want to say hi? Lily nodded uncertainly. Victor carried her to the bedside, and Noah's eyes opened at the sound of her voice. Hi, Lily, he whispered, his voice still hoarse from the breathing tube. Hi. Lily reached out carefully, touching his hand. You okay? Yeah, doctors fixed my heart. Noah managed a small smile. I got a scar. Want to see? Before Maya could intervene, Noah was trying to lift his gown. She gently stopped him. Let's wait until you're a little more healed, okay? The scar's not going anywhere. But I want to show Lily. Dr. Chen said it makes me a superhero. Victor caught Maya's eye, and she saw her own emotion reflected there. The terrible sweetness of watching their son find pride in his trauma, turning fear into strength. You are a superhero, Victor said seriously. The bravest one I know, but your mama's right. Let's give it a few more days before the big reveal. Noah accepted this with the easy trust he'd developed in his father. Maya watched the interaction, something loosening in her chest. Victor had been here for every moment, the surgery, the recovery, the long nights, and longer fears. He'd kept his promise, hadn't left, hadn't wavered. That night after Lily had gone home with Mrs. Patterson again and Noah was sleeping peacefully, Maya and Victor sat in the dim hospital room, exhaustion weighing on both of them. "You should go home," Maya said quietly. "Get real sleep. I can handle tonight." "So can I." Victor stretched his long legs out, grimacing. "Besides, I'm not leaving you to do this alone." "Victor, you've been here for 48 hours straight. You're going to collapse." "Then I'll collapse here." His tone left no room for argument. "I'm not leaving him. Or you." Maya should have insisted, should have sent him away, maintained some independence. But the truth was, she didn't want to be alone, didn't want to face the monitors and the beeping and the constant low-grade terror without him. "Okay," she said softly, "but at least try to sleep. I'll wake you if anything changes." Victor settled into the recliner that had become his bed, but his eyes stayed on Noah. "Maya, can I ask you something?" "Maybe." "What was it like? Being pregnant? Giving birth? All of it?" His voice was rough with regret. "I know I can't get those moments back, but I want to know, if you're willing to tell me." Maya was quiet for a long moment, surprised by the question. Then, slowly, she began to speak. She told him about the morning sickness that lasted all day, about the first ultrasound when she learned it was twins, about the terror and wonder of feeling them move inside her. She described going into labor alone, driving herself to the hospital at 3 a.m. because there was no one to call. "I was in labor for 19 hours, she said, watching Noah sleep. "They came 4 minutes apart. Noah first, then Lily. And the moment I held them," her voice broke. "I knew I'd done the right thing, running, protecting them, even if it meant raising them alone. I wish I could have been there." Victor's face was anguished. "I wish I could have held your hand, told you how amazing you are, been there when they were born." "So do I," Maya admitted. "There were so many times I almost called you, almost broke down and reached out, but I was so afraid, Victor. Afraid you'd take them from me, afraid you'd kill you." Victor finished the thought she couldn't voice. "You really believed I would hurt you." "I didn't know what to believe. I just knew I couldn't take the risk, not with them." Maya's hands twisted together. "I'm sorry. For running, for keeping them from you, for all of it, but I'm not sorry for protecting them." "You shouldn't be. You did what any mother would do." Victor leaned forward, his elbows on his knees. "I'm the one who should apologize, for not making you feel safe, for building a life so dark that the woman I loved would rather disappear than stay in it. You were who you were. I knew that when I fell for you. But I should have been better, should have chosen differently." Victor's eyes found hers in the dim light. "I'm choosing differently now, for them, for you." "I'm starting to believe that," Maya said quietly. "Watching you with them these past few weeks, you're a good father, Victor. Better than I expected." "High praise," he said with a ghost of a smile. "I mean it. They love you, trust you, and that's—" Maya stopped, struggling with the admission. "That's everything I wanted for them. A father who would protect them, cherish them, be there. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere." Victor's intensity pinned her in place. "Not after the surgery, not ever. Whatever you decide about us, I'm staying in their lives." The weight of that promise settled over them. Maya knew he meant it, knew that regardless of what happened between them, Victor would be present for Noah and Lily. The question was what that meant for her heart, for the walls she'd built, for the possibility of something more than co-parenting. She wasn't ready to answer that yet. Wasn't sure she'd ever be ready. Noah stirred, whimpering softly. Maya was at his side immediately, checking the monitors, smoothing his hair. "Shh, baby. You're okay. Mama's here." "Hurt," Noah mumbled, still half asleep. Maya pressed the call button for the nurse. Within moments, someone appeared to adjust his pain medication. Noah settled back into sleep, his small face relaxing. "He's doing remarkably well," the nurse said, checking the surgical site. "Dr. Chen will be pleased with his progress." After the nurse left, Maya returned to her chair, suddenly aware of how tired she was. Victor was watching her with concern. Sleep, he ordered gently. I've got this shift. I can't. What if something happens? Then I'll wake you. Maya, you haven't slept in 2 days. You're going to make yourself sick. Victor stood, guiding her to the recliner he'd vacated. Please, trust me to watch over him, just for a few hours. Maya wanted to argue, but exhaustion was pulling at her, making her thoughts fuzzy. You'll wake me? The second anything changes, I promise. She sank into the recliner and sleep claimed her almost immediately. In her dreams, she was running again, but this time Victor was running with her, and they were chasing something instead of fleeing. When she woke 4 hours later, disoriented and stiff, Victor was exactly where he'd promised to be, sitting vigil beside their son. Anything happen? She asked, her voice rough with sleep. Nothing. He's been peaceful. Victor glanced over and Maya saw the exhaustion in his face. Your turn. Go get some real sleep. I'm okay now. You should... Maya, Noah's voice small and clear. Daddy needs sleep too. Make him go to the bed. They both turned to find Noah awake and watching them with those two perceptive eyes. You're supposed to be sleeping, Maya said, moving to his side. Was, but you guys are loud. Noah looked at Victor. You should sleep, Daddy. You look tired. Victor's expression softened. I'm fine, buddy. No, you're not. Mama always says rest is important for healing. You need to heal too. Out of the mouths of babes, Maya caught Victor's eye, seeing him waver. There's a parents' lounge down the hall, she said quietly. It has actual beds. Go. I've got this. I don't want to leave. We'll still be here when you wake up. Go, Victor. Noah's right. You need rest. Finally, reluctantly, Victor stood. He pressed a kiss to Noah's forehead, then hesitated by Maya's chair. Thank you for letting me be here, for all of this. You're his father. Where else would you be? After Victor left, Noah turned to Maya with a serious expression. Daddy loves us a lot, huh? Yes, baby, he does. Do you love him? The question caught Maya off guard. She looked at her son, at those eyes that saw too much, and struggled for honesty. It's complicated. That's what grown-ups say when the answer is yes, but they're scared. Noah's matter-of-fact tone made Maya's throat tight. It's okay to be scared, Mama. Remember? You told me that. When did you get so wise? Maya smoothed his hair, blinking back tears. I'm a superhero now. Superheroes know stuff. Noah yawned, the medication pulling him back toward sleep. I like having a daddy. Lily does too. We want him to stay. I know, sweetheart. We'll figure it out. Okay. Noah's eyes drifted closed. Love you, Mama. Love you too, baby. More than all the stars. Maya sat in the quiet hospital room, her son's words echoing in her mind. Do you love him? The answer should have been simple. Number. How could she love the man she'd run from? How could she trust someone whose entire life had been built on violence and fear? But watching Victor with their children, seeing the way he'd stepped up, the way he'd kept every promise, Maya couldn't deny the truth anymore. She'd never stopped loving him, had run from him 3 years ago, not because she didn't love him, but because she loved him too much, because loving Victor Moreau was dangerous and consuming and terrifying. It still was. But maybe, just maybe, it was also worth the risk. The next 3 days passed in steady improvement. Noah's pain decreased, his mobility increased, and by day 4 he was sitting up and demanding real food instead of hospital meals. Dr. Chen was thrilled with his recovery. I've rarely seen a child bounce back this quickly, she told Maya and Victor during rounds. If he continues at this rate, we can discharge him in 2 days. Home recovery will take about 6 weeks, but he's through the worst of it. 6 weeks of taking it easy? Maya asked. You clearly don't know my son. Dr. Chen laughed. I'll send home detailed instructions. No rough play, no swimming, gentle activities only. But yes, he's going to want to do more than he should. That's where you come in, enforcing the rules. After she left, Victor turned to Maya. 6 weeks. We'll need to arrange things at the house, make sure he has everything he needs to recover comfortably. I can handle it. I know you can, but you don't have to. Let me help. Victor's tone was careful. Let me be part of this. The recovery, the daily routine, all of it. Maya studied him, seeing the hope and uncertainty in his face. They'd been in crisis mode for weeks. The discovery, the surgery, the recovery. But now, with Noah on the mend, they were approaching the moment she'd been dreading. The moment when she had to decide what came next. "We should talk," she said quietly. "About after we go home. About what this looks like." "Okay." Victor glanced at Noah, who was absorbed in a tablet Victor had brought. "Now?" "Tonight, after he's asleep." Maya needed time to organize her thoughts, to figure out what she wanted to say. "Meet me in the lounge?" "I'll be there." The day dragged after that, anticipation and anxiety gnawing in Maya's stomach. Victor left to check on Lily, who was getting restless staying with Mrs. Patterson. He brought her back that evening for a visit, and the twins' reunion was everything Maya needed. Pure joy, uncomplicated love. "Look, Lily." Noah carefully lifted his gown to show his sister the bandage. "My superhero scar." Lily peered at it with interest. "Does it hurt?" "A little, but I'm brave." "You're the bravest." Lily crawled carefully onto the bed beside him, mindful of the wires. "I missed you." "Missed you too." Maya and Victor stood back, watching their children together, and Maya felt the last of her resistance crumbling. This was what she wanted for them. Not separate lives with coordinated visitation, but a real family, together. The question was whether she was brave enough to reach for it. That night, after Lily had gone home and Noah was sleeping soundly, Maya made her way to the parents' lounge. Victor was already there, pacing by the window. He turned when she entered, tension evident in every line of his body. "Hi," he said, like they were strangers. "Hi." Maya sat on the worn couch, and after a moment, Victor joined her, leaving careful space between them. "So, we should talk." "About what comes next," Victor agreed. "Maya, before you say anything, I need you to know I meant everything I said. About staying, about being present, about changing my life. That's not contingent on what you decide about us. Those are promises to them, not bargaining chips." "I know." Maya twisted her hands together. "I've been watching you, Victor, these past weeks. The way you are with them, the way you've shown up for every moment. It's not enough to erase the past, I know that." "Let me finish." Maya took a breath. "It's not enough to erase the past, but it's enough to make me reconsider the future, to make me wonder if maybe I was wrong about some things." Victor went very still. "What things?" "About you, about what you're capable of, about whether people can really change." Maya finally met his eyes. "I've spent 3 years believing you were a monster, that loving you was the biggest mistake of my life, but watching you with Noah and Lily, you're not a monster, Victor. You're just a man, a complicated, flawed man who's trying to be better." "Maya, I'm scared," she admitted. "Terrified, actually, because if I let you back in, if I give this a real chance and it falls apart, it won't just break me. It'll break them, and I won't let that happen." "Then don't let me back in." Victor's voice was rough. "Not until you're sure. Not until you trust that I won't break any of you." He shifted closer, his eyes intense. "I can wait, Maya. I can be their father, be present in their lives, and wait for you to be ready. Whether that's 6 months or 6 years or never. Never is a long time." "I know, but I also know I'm asking you to trust the man who drove you away. The man whose world was so dark, you'd rather disappear than stay in it." Victor's hand moved toward hers, then stopped, hovering. "I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm not even asking for a second chance. I'm just asking you not to close the door completely, to leave it open, just a crack, and let me prove I can be what you need." Maya looked at his hand, so close to hers, and made a choice. She closed the distance, her fingers intertwining with his. "What if I told you the door's already open, that I'm terrified and unsure and still angry about so many things, but I'm willing to try? What would that look like?" Victor's breath caught. "It would look like whatever you need it to, slow, careful, building trust one day at a time." "I need time," Maya said. "Time to see if this version of you is real. Time to make sure you're committed to this life, to them, to—" She stopped, unable to say to me. "To all of it," Victor finished. I am, Maya. I swear to you. But take all the time you need. I'm not going anywhere. They sat there, hands linked, and Maya felt something shift in her chest. Not forgiveness, not yet. Not complete trust, but the beginning of hope. The tentative belief that maybe, just maybe, they could build something real from the wreckage of their past. When we go home, she said slowly, I think you should get your own place. Nearby, but separate. The twins can see you every day if they want, but I need space, need to maintain some boundaries while we figure this out. Done. I'll find something this week. And we tell the twins the truth, that you're their father, that we're figuring out what our family looks like, but we're doing it together. Whatever you think is best. And Victor? Maya squeezed his hand. No more secrets. No more half-truths. If I'm going to trust you, I need complete honesty. About your business, about your past, about everything. You have it. I'll answer any question you have. Show you any record you want to see. Victor's thumb stroked across her knuckles. Complete transparency. Okay. Maya took a shaky breath. Okay. Let's try this. Slow and careful and terrifying, but let's try. Victor's eyes shone with something that looked like tears. Thank you for giving me this chance, for not giving up on us completely. Don't thank me yet. I might be terrible at this. I might panic and push you away. I might... Victor stopped her words with a gentle squeeze of her hand. Then we'll deal with it. Together. No running, no disappearing. We'll talk through it and figure it out. No running, Maya echoed and felt the weight of those words. For 3 years, running had been her survival strategy. Now she was choosing to stay, to face her fears, to see if love could be enough. They sat in the quiet lounge, hands linked, and talked until nearly midnight. About logistics and boundaries, about hopes and fears, about what the next weeks and months might look like. It wasn't romantic, it wasn't swept away passionate, but it was real and honest, and maybe that was more important. When Maya finally stood to head back to Noah's room, Victor stood too. Maya, one more thing. What? The ring. The one I showed you. Victor pulled the small box from his pocket. I'm not asking you to wear it, not yet, maybe not ever, but I want you to have it, as a reminder that I chose you 3 years ago, and I'm choosing you now. Whatever happens, that doesn't change. He pressed the box into her hand. Maya stared at it, her throat tight. I can't take this. You're not taking it. I'm giving it to you. What you do with it is your choice. Victor's smile was sad. Keep it in a drawer, throw it in the ocean, whatever feels right. But it's yours. You've always been the only one I wanted to give it to. Maya's vision blurred. She clutched the box, feeling the weight of it, the promise it represented. Thank you, she whispered, for waiting, for being patient, for loving them so completely. For loving all of you, Victor corrected. Good night, Maya. I'll see you in the morning. After he left, Maya returned to Noah's room and tucked the ring box into her bag. She sat in the chair beside her son's bed, listening to his peaceful breathing, and let herself feel the full weight of what she'd just done. She'd opened the door. Let Victor back in, just a crack. Given him a chance to prove himself, to show he could be the man and father they needed. It was terrifying. It was reckless. It went against every survival instinct she'd honed over 3 years of running. But watching Noah sleep, his chest rising and falling with his fixed heart, Maya realized something. She'd spent 3 years protecting her children from every possible threat. But maybe, just maybe, she'd also been protecting them from love, from family, from the possibility of having everything she'd always wanted. Victor was dangerous. Victor was complicated. But Victor also loved their children with a fierceness that took her breath away. And maybe, just maybe, that love was worth the risk. Noah stirred, his eyes opening briefly. Mama? Right here, baby. Is Daddy coming back tomorrow? Yes, sweetheart. He'll be here. Good. Noah's eyes drifted closed again. I love him. And I love you. I'm glad we're all together. Maya's tears finally spilled over. Me too, baby. Me too. She sat in the dim hospital room, her son's words echoing in her heart, and let herself believe it, that they could be together, that Victor could change, that love could be enough to build something real and lasting from the ruins of fear and mistrust. It wouldn't be easy. There would be setbacks and doubts, and moments when the old fears came roaring back. But for the first time in 3 years, Maya wasn't running from those fears. She was choosing to face them, to stay and fight for the family they could be. And that felt like its own kind of courage, its own kind of hope, its own kind of beginning. They brought Noah home on a Tuesday morning, 6 days after surgery. The drive from the hospital was careful and slow, Victor navigating every turn with exaggerated caution, while Noah sat in his car seat clutching his stuffed lion and giving commentary on everything they passed. "That's where Mama buys groceries," he announced as they drove through Port Timber. "And that's the park where Daddy pushes us on the swings." Lily, in the seat beside him, added her own observations. "And that's Mrs. Patterson's house. She makes cookies, but they're not as good as Mama's." Maya sat in the passenger seat, listening to her children's chatter, and felt something settle in her chest. Home. They were going home. Together. Not as the fractured, hidden family they'd been, but as something new. Something whole. Victor had spent the past 2 days apartment hunting while Maya stayed at the hospital with Noah. He'd found a place 4 blocks away, close enough to be present, far enough to give Maya the space she'd asked for. He hadn't moved in yet, hadn't even signed the lease, wanting Maya to see it first and approve. "We can stop by if you want," he'd offered that morning. "Make sure it's suitable." Maya had agreed, curious despite herself. After they got Noah settled at home, Victor drove them to the apartment, a renovated unit in a quiet building with a small playground visible from the living room window. "The playground sold me," Victor admitted as they walked through the space. "Thought the twins might like it." The apartment was nicer than Maya's rental. Newer appliances, fresh paint, actual closet space. But it wasn't ostentatious. Wasn't the kind of place a crime boss would choose. It was the home of a normal father trying to be close to his children. "It's good," Maya said, watching Noah explore the empty rooms despite strict orders to take it easy. "Really good. You're sure I can keep looking if—" "Victor," Maya touched his arm. "It's perfect. Sign the lease." Something shifted in his expression. Relief, maybe, or hope. "I will. I'll get furniture delivered this week, and then—" He stopped, looking uncertain. "Then I'll be nearby, whenever you need me. Or whenever you don't, but the twins want to see me, whatever works." They stood in the empty apartment, their children's voices echoing from the bedroom, and Maya felt the strange newness of this arrangement settling over them. Co-parenting, building trust, trying to figure out if there could be something more. "Thank you," Victor said quietly. "For this. For letting me be part of their lives. Part of your life." "One day at a time," Maya reminded him. "We're taking this one day at a time." "One day at a time," Victor agreed. The first week home was an adjustment for everyone. Noah chafed against the restrictions on his activity, frustrated that he couldn't run or climb or do any of the things he wanted to do. Maya enforced Dr. Chen's orders with gentle firmness, and Victor backed her up, distracting Noah with quiet activities when the energy got to be too much. Victor came over every morning, bringing breakfast and staying until the twins' afternoon nap. He'd leave for a few hours to handle business calls and apartment setup, then return for dinner. The routine developed organically, shaped by the twins' needs and schedules. Maya watched him navigate fatherhood with growing confidence. He learned which foods Lily refused to eat, how to calm Noah when the surgical site itched, the exact tone of voice needed to get them both into the bath without argument. He made mistakes, forgot to cut grapes in half, let them have too much sugar before bed, once accidentally let them watch a movie that gave Lily nightmares. But he learned from each mistake, adjusted, tried harder. "You're good at this," Maya said one evening as they cleaned up dinner together. The twins were playing quietly in the living room, Noah building a tower, while Lily narrated an elaborate story about dragon princesses. "I'm figuring it out," Victor corrected. "There's a difference." "Everyone's figuring it out. That's what parenting is." Maya dried a plate, setting it in the cabinet. "But you're present. You're trying. That's what matters." Victor was quiet for a moment, his hands stilling in the soapy water. "Maya, can I ask you something?" "Maybe," she said, the familiar response. "That night 3 years ago." If I had explained immediately about the proposal, if you'd stayed, do you think we would have made it, or would my world have destroyed us eventually? Maya considered the question, really thought about it. I don't know, your world was dark, Victor, really dark. And I was young and naive and thought love could conquer anything, but raising children in that world, she shook her head. I don't think I could have done it. I would have been afraid every single day. And now? Now you're building a different world, one where I don't have to be afraid. Maya met his eyes. That's the difference. That's why I'm willing to try. I meant what I said about getting out completely. The last of my Chicago holdings transfer next week, and then I'm done. No ties, no obligations, nothing that could come back to hurt you or the twins. What will you do? For work, I mean. Victor smiled slightly. I have enough investments to live comfortably without working, but I've been thinking about legitimate business ventures, maybe real estate development, something that builds instead of destroys. That's very poetic, Maya teased gently. I have my moments. Victor's expression grew serious again. I want to be someone they can be proud of, not someone they have to make excuses for or lie about, just a good father, a good man. You're already a good father? Maya said softly. You're getting there on the good man part. The words made him smile, genuine and warm. High praise. They finished the dishes in comfortable silence, and Maya marveled at how normal this felt. How right. Like they'd been doing this dance for years instead of weeks. 2 weeks after Noah came home, Dr. Chen cleared him for gentle activity. The change in his energy was immediate and dramatic. He wanted to run, to jump, to do all the things he'd been forbidden from doing. Maya and Victor took turns redirecting him, finding activities that would tire him out without risking his healing. I hate this, Noah complained one afternoon, frustrated tears streaming down his face. I want to play like normal. I know, buddy. Victor knelt beside him, patient and understanding. But your heart needs time to finish healing. Just a few more weeks and then you can do everything. It's not fair. You're right, it's not. Victor pulled Noah into a careful hug. But you know what? You're the bravest kid I know. You survived surgery. You're healing perfectly. You can be patient a little longer. Will you stay with me until I can play normal again? I'll stay with you forever, Victor promised. Even after you're all healed, I'm not going anywhere. Noah pulled back, studying his father's face with those two perceptive eyes. Promise? Promise. Victor held out his pinky, and Noah hooked his own around it. Pinky swear. Maya watched from the doorway, her heart full and breaking at the same time. This was what trust looked like. This was what family looked like. And she was starting to believe they could really have it. That night, after the twins were asleep, Victor lingered at the door like he did every evening. Usually he said goodnight and left, respecting the boundaries Maya had set. But tonight he hesitated. There's something I want to show you, he said, if you have time. What is it? Something I've been working on. For the twins. Victor's expression was uncertain. I could bring it here, or you could come to my apartment. Whatever you're comfortable with. Maya considered. She hadn't been to his apartment since that first walkthrough, hadn't wanted to blur the lines between his space and hers. But curiosity won out. Let me check the monitor. If they're deeply asleep, I can step out for a few minutes. 10 minutes later, they were walking the 4 blocks to Victor's apartment. The evening was cool, autumn settling into the Pacific Northwest with golden light and falling leaves. Victor walked beside her, close but not touching, respecting her space. His apartment had been transformed since Maya last saw it. Furniture now filled the rooms, comfortable and practical, nothing ostentatious. But what caught her attention was the second bedroom. Victor had converted it into a space for the twins. 2 small beds, toys neatly organized, drawings pinned to a corkboard on the wall. I know they have their room at your place, Victor said, watching her take it in. But I wanted them to have a space here too, for when they visit, for when... He stopped, uncertain. For when they stay over, Maya finished. Victor, this is... She blinked back tears. This is perfect. You think they'll like it? They'll love it. Maya moved through the room, seeing the care in every detail. Books that matched their interests, a nightlight like the one at home, even the same brand of stuffed animals. You really thought about this. I think about them constantly, Victor admitted, about what they need, what makes them happy, about being the father they deserve. Maya turned to face him, seeing the vulnerability in his expression. You are, the father they deserve. You've proven that. And what about you? Victor moved closer, careful and slow. Have I proven anything to you? You've proven you can change, that you're committed to this life, to them. Maya's heart raced. That's more than I thought possible. But is it enough? Victor's hand lifted, hovering near her face but not quite touching. Is it enough for you to trust me with your heart again, or am I always going to be the man you ran from? Maya reached up, catching his hand, pressing it against her cheek. I'm terrified, she whispered, of trusting you, of letting you back in completely, of what happens if this falls apart. I'm terrified too, Victor admitted, of messing this up, of losing you again, of not being enough. But Maya, his thumb stroked across her cheekbone. I love you. I never stopped, and I know that's not enough to erase the past, but it's the truth. I know. Maya closed her eyes, leaning into his touch. I've known for a while. I just wasn't ready to admit it. And now? Now I'm still terrified, but I'm also... She opened her eyes, meeting his gaze. I'm falling for you again. Or maybe I never fell out of love with you. I don't know anymore. I just know that when I think about the future, about what I want our family to look like, you're in it. Not at the edges, not just as the twins' father, but as... Victor didn't let her finish. He kissed her, gentle and careful and full of 3 years of longing. Maya melted into him, her hands fisting in his shirt, and let herself feel all of it, the fear and the hope and the desperate, dangerous love she'd been denying. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Victor rested his forehead against hers. I'm going to spend every day proving I'm worth this chance, he said roughly. Every single day. Just love us, Maya whispered. Love them, and be present, and don't go back to who you were. That's all I need. I can do that. Victor kissed her again, softer this time. I am doing that. They stood in the twins' future bedroom, holding each other, and Maya felt the last of her walls crumbling. This was still terrifying, still risky, but it was also right in a way nothing had been in 3 years. I should get back, she said reluctantly, in case they wake up. I'll walk you. They made the return journey in comfortable silence, Victor's hand warm in hers. At her door, he kissed her goodnight, just a brief press of lips that still made her knees weak. Tomorrow? He asked. Tomorrow, Maya confirmed. Same time? I'll bring breakfast. After he left, Maya checked on the twins, both still sleeping peacefully, and then pulled out the ring box she'd hidden in her dresser. She opened it, studying the diamond in the dim light, and let herself imagine saying yes. Imagine building a real life with Victor, not in secret or in fear, but in the open. It still felt impossible, but for the first time it also felt possible. The next month passed in a blur of healing and building routines. Noah's surgical site healed beautifully, and by week 5, Dr. Chen cleared him for full activity. The change in him was remarkable. More energy, better color, no more breathless exhaustion after simple play. The surgery had given him his childhood back. Victor was there for every milestone. The first day Noah could run without restrictions. The first time he made it across the monkey bars without getting tired. The pure joy on his son's face when he realized his body could do things it never could before. Look, Daddy, Noah called from the top of the play structure. I'm so high. I see you, buddy. Be careful. Maya watched Victor watch Noah, saw the fierce pride and love in his expression, and felt her heart expand. This was what she'd wanted for her children. This normalcy, this joy, this sense of being completely loved and protected. Lily, not to be outdone, demanded Victor push her on the swings, higher, higher, until Maya called a halt, worried she'd go over the top bar. You're going to spoil them, Maya said as they walked home, each twin holding one of Victor's hands. Good. They deserve to be spoiled. Victor grinned at her over their heads. Within reason. Within reason, Maya agreed, smiling back. That night, Victor stayed for dinner and bath time and bedtime stories. It had become their routine, Victor present for all the mundane, beautiful moments of family life. As Maya tucked Noah in, he looked up at her with serious eyes. Mama, is Daddy going to live here? Like, all the time? Maya's heart stuttered. Would you want that? Yeah. I like when he's here. Noah's honesty was devastating. And he makes you smile more. You didn't smile a lot before. I smiled, Maya protested weakly. Not like now. Noah's small hand caught hers. You're happy when Daddy's here. We all are. In Lily's bed, she heard similar sentiments. I love Daddy, Lily said simply. And I love you. I want us all to be together, like a real family. We are a real family, baby. You know what I mean. Lily's expression was wise beyond her years. Together, together. In the same house. After the twins were asleep, Maya found Victor in the kitchen, cleaning up dinner dishes. She watched him for a moment, this man who'd transformed his entire life to be here, and made a decision. The twins have been asking questions, she said quietly. Victor's hands stilled. What kind of questions? About us. About whether you're going to live here, about what our family looks like. Maya moved closer. And I've been thinking, Maya, let me finish. She took a breath. I've been thinking about what I want, not what's safe or what makes sense, but what I actually want. And Victor, I want you here. Not visiting, not 4 blocks away, but here, with us, full time. Victor set down the dish he was holding, his expression careful. Are you sure? I don't want to rush you into something you're not ready for. I'm terrified, Maya admitted. But I'm also tired of being afraid, tired of holding you at arm's length, when what I really want is to let you all the way in. She closed the distance between them. I love you. I think I always have, even when I was running from you. And I want to build a real life together, the kind we should have had 3 years ago. Victor's hands came up to frame her face, his eyes searching hers. You're sure? Because once I'm here, once we do this, I'm all in, forever, no going back. I'm counting on it. Maya rose on her toes, kissing him. Move in, be here, be ours. I've always been yours, Victor said against her lips, from the moment I met you. They kissed in Maya's small kitchen, sealing a promise that felt both terrifying and inevitable. When they finally broke apart, Victor was smiling, the first truly unguarded smile Maya had seen from him in 3 years. When? He asked. When do you want me to move in? Whenever you're ready. This weekend? Next week? Maya laughed at the absurdity of it. We're really doing this. We're really doing this. Victor pulled her close, and Maya let herself lean into his strength. I'll start packing tomorrow. Victor moved in that weekend, bringing his modest collection of belongings and integrating seamlessly into their small house. The twins were ecstatic, treating it like the best surprise of their lives. They helped unpack, argued over where Victor's things should go, and declared their family perfect now. That first night, after the twins were asleep, Maya and Victor stood in the bedroom they'd share, the room that had been only hers for 3 years. This is strange, Maya said, staring at Victor's clothes now hanging in her closet. Good strange or bad strange? Good strange, scary strange. She turned to face him. I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop, for something to go wrong. Nothing's going to go wrong. Victor drew her close. I know you're used to running, to waiting for disaster, but Maya, we're safe now. The threats are gone. My old life is dismantled. We can just be a normal family. Normal, Maya echoed, testing the word. I don't think we'll ever be completely normal. Maybe not. But we can be happy. We can be together. That's all that matters. They stood in the quiet bedroom, holding each other, and Maya felt the shift happening inside her, the final release of fear, the acceptance of hope. This was her life now. This strange, beautiful second chance. The months that followed settled into a rhythm of domestic happiness Maya had never dared dream of. Victor proved himself every day, patient with the twins, supportive with Maya, building a legitimate business that kept him fulfilled without endangering their family. He was present for every moment, first days of preschool, doctor's appointments, skinned knees, and bad dreams. Noah's heart healed completely. The the scar on his chest fading to a thin line he proudly showed anyone who'd look. "It means I'm brave," he'd explained seriously. "My daddy told me so." Lily started asking when they'd get married, the question casual but pointed. "Sarah at school says mamas and daddies get married. Are you going to?" Maya and Victor would exchange glances, communicating silently. "Not yet. Soon. When the time is right." 6 months after Victor moved in, he found Maya on the back porch one evening, staring at the stars. He sat beside her, his presence solid and comforting. "What are you thinking about?" he asked. "Everything. Nothing." Maya leaned into him. "How different my life is now versus a year ago. How scared I was when you showed up at my door. How impossible all of this seemed. And now? Now it seems like the only thing that makes sense." Maya turned to face him. "You know what I realized today?" "What?" "I haven't thought about running in months. Haven't kept an emergency bag packed. Haven't looked over my shoulder waiting for disaster." She touched his face. "You made me feel safe. Really, truly safe. For the first time in years." Victor caught her hand, kissed her palm. "That's all I've ever wanted. To protect you. To give you and the twins the life you deserve." "You have." Maya's eyes burned with happy tears. "You really have." "Maya." Victor reached into his pocket, and Maya's breath caught when she saw the velvet box. "I know I gave you this ring months ago, told you to do whatever you wanted with it, but I'd really like to give it to you properly now. If you're ready." Maya's heart thundered. "Victor, I love you. I've loved you for 4 years, even the 3 when I thought I'd lost you. You're the mother of my children, the love of my life, the reason I changed everything." Victor opened the box, the diamond catching the porch light. "Will you marry me? Will you let me spend the rest of my life proving I'm worthy of this family?" Tears streamed down Maya's face. "You've already proven it, every single day. Yes, yes, I'll marry you." Victor's hand shook as he slid the ring onto her finger, the ring he'd bought 3 years ago for a proposal that never happened. Maya stared at it, at the physical symbol of his commitment, his love, his transformation. "I love you," she whispered. "Even when I was running, even when I was terrified, I loved you." "I know." Victor kissed her, tender and reverent. "I've always known." They told the twins the next morning over breakfast. Noah and Lily reacted with the pure, uncomplicated joy of children who'd never doubted this outcome. "Does this mean we're a real family now?" Lily asked. "We've always been a real family," Maya corrected gently. "But yes, Daddy and I are getting married." "Can I wear a princess dress?" Lily demanded. "Can I carry the rings?" Noah asked. Victor laughed, pulling both twins into his lap. "You can wear the biggest princess dress in the world, and you can absolutely carry the rings. This is a family celebration." They planned a small ceremony for the following spring, just close friends, Mrs. Patterson, and a few of Victor's former associates who'd successfully transitioned to legitimate business. Nothing ostentatious, nothing that would draw attention, just a simple celebration of the family they'd built from the ruins of fear and secrecy. The week before the wedding, Maya took the twins to visit the beach where Victor had bought a small house, their wedding gift to themselves. It would be their family home, a place where the twins could grow up with ocean views and endless sky. Noah and Lily ran along the sand, shrieking with delight, while Maya and Victor walked hand in hand behind them. "Are you happy?" Victor asked, watching their children play. Deliriously, Maya squeezed his hand, terrifyingly, completely. "Good. That's all I want. Your happiness. Their happiness." "What about your happiness?" Victor stopped walking, turned to face her. "Maya, 3 years ago I had everything I thought I wanted. Power, money, control. I was miserable and didn't even know it. Now I have you and the twins. I have a life that means something. I have a reason to be better." His eyes shone. "I've never been happier, never been more grateful. You gave me everything that matters." Maya kissed him there on the beach, with the salt wind whipping around them and their children's laughter carrying on the breeze. This was her life now. This man, these children, this second chance at everything she thought she'd lost. The wedding took place on a perfect April day. The ceremony on the beach in front of their new home. Maya wore a simple white dress, no veil, no train, just clean lines and honest beauty. Victor wore a suit but no tie. His expression when he saw her walking toward him, everything she needed to know about his feelings. Noah and Lily preceded her down the sandy aisle, Noah carrying the rings with exaggerated care, Lily throwing flower petals with enthusiastic abandon. They stood beside their parents during the ceremony, part of every promise, every vow. "I promise to love you," Maya said, her voice steady despite the tears. "To trust you. To build this life with you. To never run again." "I promise to protect you," Victor replied. "To cherish you. To be the man you and our children deserve. To love you more every day than the day before." They exchanged rings. Maya's the one Victor had carried for 3 years. Victor's a simple band that Maya had chosen. The symbolism wasn't lost on either of them. Promises kept, love redeemed, family forged from brokenness. When the officiant pronounced them married, Noah and Lily cheered louder than anyone. Victor kissed Maya as the sun set over the Pacific, their children pressed between them, and Maya felt the last piece of her fractured heart click into place. This was home. This was family. This was everything she'd been running toward even when she thought she was running away. The reception was small and joyful, ending early so the twins wouldn't get overtired. As the last guest departed and the twins fell asleep in their new bedrooms, Maya and Victor stood on the deck of their beach house, watching the stars emerge. "Mrs. Moreau," Victor said, testing the name. "How does it feel?" "Strange, perfect, right." Maya leaned into him. "I never thought I'd have this. A real marriage, a real home, a real future. You gave me that." "We gave each other that." Victor's arms tightened around her. "I was lost before you, Maya, building an empire that meant nothing. You gave me purpose, direction, love. And you gave me safety, trust, a family." Maya turned in his arms, looking up at him. "No more running, no more fear, just this, just us." "Just us," Victor agreed and kissed her beneath the stars. Inside, Noah stirred in his sleep, his hand reaching out to touch the stuffed lion that had been with him through surgery and recovery. In the next room, Lily clutched her twin lion, dreaming of princess dresses and weddings and the family she'd always wanted. And on the deck, Maya and Victor held each other, two people who'd found their way back from darkness and fear and 3 years of separation. They'd built something real from the wreckage, something beautiful, something worth every risk, every fear, every moment of doubt. They'd built a family, a home, a future, and standing there in the moonlight, with the ocean singing its eternal song, and their children safe and loved inside, Maya finally believed what Victor had been telling her all along. They were home. They were safe. They were exactly where they were meant to be, together.